body language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
The end of the year is quickly lowering its boom on us, but not before we also get hit with a barrage of a couple possibly spectacular and a bevy of craptacular holiday horror films to put the ho-ho-ho back in horror. And even if every Christmas horror film this year sucks snowballs, we can always rely on the old faves that have given us that evil holiday cheer while your uncle is trying out his new fleshlight in front of the kids. Well, come December 7th to the 22nd, U.S. theaters will be showcasing the 50th anniversary of that 1974 Bob Clark Canadian classic, Black Christmas. Many locations will be having screenings, 2 in Massachusetts alone, as well as some in Canada. So log on to bloodydisgusting.com or variety.com to get all the info and showtimes. And welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome to episode 643 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and is recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein. Also, soon to be the lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau in Casa de -0, and broadcasting from the West Coast. We are joined by good friend, Patreon supporter for his Patreon takeover, EF Contentment. What's up, EF?
Howdy. And as I was saying before we started, that's why I hate Raven Shadow. He is such a sucker. He's not. I don't know.
Yes, Raven Shadow is having some technical difficulties, so we just figured we'd get started without him.
Yes.
I was going full on Pacino right now talking about Raven Shadow, man. It's like,
oh shit!
And by that I mean I was talking about how he has a great ass.
Well, he is a technical difficulty.
He is an ass.
A great ass.
Fumbling around.
Speak
Look
of
at
the
this
devil.
guy. Look at him.
What's up, Freddy Fumbles?
Oh, jeez.
What's up, Raven Shadow?
I'm fucking upset.
Why?
My fucking computer's stupid.
Well, it might be user error.
Yeah.
No.
Did you contact IT at your day job? Try to figure out what's going on.
Let's see. Which one is smarter, Raven Shadow or a computer?
Well, you need someone to.
Let's not all answer at once.
You
now.
need someone to operate a computer for it to actually do something, unless it's like trained on some fucking dumbass AI models. But Raven Shadow is not able.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Ian. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, like, I guess it comes down to whether the computer has all of Raven Shadow's knowledge plus someone else's knowledge. Since the computer only knows what we tell it, right? Although with AI, who knows? They learn at an accelerated rate. I don't know. It's just
Is AI smarter than Raven Shadow?
AI smarter than all of us.
Are you asking AI?
I'm asking anybody who's willing to answer. I'm asking anybody who has the balls to answer.
Let me go to Chat GPT and see.
I have the balls to answer. Yeah,
I would love to know the answer to that. Actually,
all right. What was the question? Is AI smarter than Raven Shadow?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just type in the question first, so bear with me.
Or put
AI...
in Michael Raven Shadow.
I did.
Put in Michael Raven, because there
did.
could be more than one Raven Shadow.
There's only one. There's only one.
There's only one. Yeah, no, it ain't fucking
right.
Storm.
Is AI smarter than Michael Raven Shadow? Let's see. Okay, so it says, you want to read it? Actually, I was going to see if it can, I guess it doesn't read it. It says, Michael Raven Shadow sounds like an individual, perhaps from a particular community or context you're familiar with, but I don't have enough context to understand who they are. If you mean AI in a general sense, it's designed to handle specific tasks or problems, often involving pattern recognition, data processing, or decision making. However, comparing AI's intelligence to a person like Michael Ravenshadow depends on the type of tasks you're talking about. For example, AI might excel at analyzing vast amounts of data or doing calculations quickly, but human intelligence, including emotional intelligence, creativity, and adaptability in complex real-world situations, is something AI still can't fully replicate. If you provide more context about Michael Ravenshadow, I could give you a more tailored comparison.
Wow, that's a lot deeper than I expected.
That's actually a
All
very Raven Shadow-esque answer.
Yeah, right? It answers the question, but yet it doesn't answer the question.
Yeah, exactly. It was all fucking filibuster. Here, let me
How about
try
this?
to refine it.
Ask how smart is Michael Ravenshadow?
AI is the best.
Yeah, until it tells you that you got the IQ of a lima bean.
Oh, fucking Skynet's give me a hard on.
All
We
right,
should
so
be live now, boys.
I'm asking the question: how smart is Michael Ravenshadow from the podcast Trick or Treat Radio?
Okay.
Thank you. Wicked smart.
It gave me 3 paragraphs. This is trained by Ravenshadow.
Like fucking Lord of the Rings. He'll fucking tell you.
Michael Ravenshadow from the Trick or Treat Radio podcast is known for his unique blend of humor, wit, and pop culture knowledge. As a co-host of the show, he's characterized by his distinctive personality, often contributing with humor and occasional insightful takes on movies, horror culture, and various geek topics. His style is laid back and comedic, with a flair for improvisation and entertaining banter. In terms of smarts, Michael Ravenshadow is likely very sharp in his areas of interest, such as film, horror, and pop culture. He has a knack for creating engaging discussions and providing a fun dynamic with his co-hosts. However, like many podcast personalities, his intelligence is more about his ability to entertain, offer interesting perspectives, and connect with his audience rather than a purely academic or technical smarts.
See?
If you're asking how he compares to AI, it gives me the same fucking question, same answer.
Oh,
I mean,
funny.
that is
That's
pretty funny.
Or in other words, he's smart. Not like everybody says.
He knows some
That's pretty
shit.
much that.
He knows some stuff.
He's a savant, in other words.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, Ravenshadow?
AI's not wrong.
I mean, I think we know now, though, like eventually AI is going to turn against us Skynet style. And it's pretty safe to we could pretty much count Ravenshadow as he will betray us.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
AI pretty much just like buttered him up. We're like, you know what, Ravenshadow? You're all right. And that's all Ravenshadow needs to hear.
It sucks that EF is like the fucking piercing the Christmas pie in my brain right now, but I'm gonna be like Joey Pants and that steak tastes good, dog.
Exactly. Oh,
Like-
Ravenshadow would totally be eating that Chateaubriand and just be like, oh, yeah, ignorance is bliss.
This fucking Winston tastes like a Winston, dude.
All right, let me see.
Now is that like
Okay.
a stock answer? So like if you put my name.
Well, I was actually
your name.
I was literally just about to do yours. I typed it in already.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So, but I want to read the chat real quick. Marion says, "Evening, gents. What's up, Marion?
Oh, are we live?
Hey, Marion.
Are we live?
Yes.
What are you fucking talking about? Are you
I
we
thought this was
live?
the pre-show.
No.
Oh, no, you should have been here at the pre-show.
Yeah.
It got pretty existential.
EF revealed all.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I literally did not know we were live right now. That's funny.
What didn't give it away? The intro and the music? Oh, that's right. You weren't here.
I was trying to log on.
All right. And our
Good evening, Marion, by the way. Good
Yes.
evening.
Yes.
Hello, Marion.
He talked right over me introducing his girl.
Oh God, that's funny.
We also have our pal Blue Sky Blue Balls. And he says, Michael the Brain Ravenshadow, we're live, pal. And Marion says, oh my God, I was wondering why Ravenshadow didn't text me.
I didn't know.
By the way, if you take the M, the R, the O, and the N away from Marion's name, you have AI. I'm just saying.
Oh shit! Thank you, baby.
It's funny. All right.
Wow.
Next question for Chat GPT. Tell me about the host Monster Zero from the podcast Trick or Treat Radio.
He has big balls.
Okay. Oh my God. I got like 5 paragraphs. Jeez.
Oh, Jesus.
Monster Zero, another prominent host of the Trick or Treat Radio podcast, brings his own unique flavor to the show. Known for his deep voice, dry humor, and often sarcastic commentary, Monster Zero adds a particular edge to the podcast's dynamic. He often provides a contrasting perspective to the other hosts, adding to the chemistry and entertaining banter that Trick or Treat Radio is known for. Much like his co-host, Monster Zero is passionate about movies, especially horror, pop culture, and other nerdy topics. I can see some similarities here between Raven Shadow.
Yeah.
But his approach tends to be a bit more cynical or irreverent. That part's pretty right.
Yeah, that's the part
Yeah.
that like makes it a little more personal.
Yeah. He often provides critiques with a mix of humor and sharp observations, sometimes leaning into a darker or more jaded view on the topics at hand. That's pretty good.
Derp.
They must have listened, ChatGPT must have listened to the Patreon episodes where MZ talks about killing Smurfs and Jesus Christ, the dark shit goes on in those. This gives him a persona that resonates with fans who appreciate a no-nonsense, often comical approach to reviewing films and discussing various cultural topics. While Monster Zero's approach may sometimes appear tough or sarcastic, it's clear that he's deeply invested in the subjects he talks about, and his insights are often thought-provoking, even if they come with a healthy dose of humor or mockery. In the context of the podcast, Monster Zero compliments the other hosts by providing a slightly more grounded or skeptical viewpoint, balancing out the more enthusiastic or playful perspectives of the rest of the team. This dynamic makes for great discussion and adds depth to the overall show's appeal. Would you like to know more about his role on the show or any particular moments he's been known for?
Why
Oh my
skip
God.
that?
I gotta do this.
Why they
Like
put
to
it
know
over
more.
like that?
Remember when he passed out on the air?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm waiting.
If that's it, I'm gonna pop.
Okay, what is Monster Zero from Trick or Treat Radio podcast known for?
Dude, big balls passing out.
It's funny. It actually just kind of gives some of the similar stuff. It lists it in like 6 bullet points. I won't read everything, but it says Monster Zero from the Trick or Treat Radio podcast is known for a few key traits that define his role on the show. 1, cynical humor. Monster Zero is the podcast's resident skeptic and often provides a dry, sarcastic perspective. I'm not going to read the whole thing. A deep knowledge of horror. That's right. As a longtime fan of horror and cult films, Monster Zero brings a lot of expertise in these genres. That's accurate. Occasionally negative reviews. Monster Zero is known for his tendency to be the negative voice on the podcast when it comes to film reviews. How does it know that? Does it listen? He's not afraid to express his dislike for a film, often offering a stark contrast to the more positive or enthusiastic viewpoints of his co-hosts. His critiques can be cutting, but are often delivered with a comedic flair. It's actually pretty fucking accurate there.
Yeah.
Distinct voice and persona. One of the things fans often recognize about Monster Zero is his voice. It's deep, gravelly, and carries a lot of personality.
That's right, it is.
Yeah, his tone and delivery style add to his overall persona as the grizzled or grumpy member of the team, which works well in contrast to the other more upbeat or enthusiastic hosts.
I'm the grumpy old man of the group. Great.
What a grumpy old vet.
And then finally it says, number 6, the straight man role. While he can be cynical and critical, Monster Zero often plays the straight man to the more outrageous antics of the other hosts. This creates a balance in the show's dynamics as he helps ground the more energetic personalities and adds contrast to the humor. The contrast.
Yeah, Wolfie needs grounding. I don't know if I got it. Is that it? Are you done?
That's it.
You're not the straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do I have a dry dry wit about me. I think my humor is very, very soapy wet.
Silky, soapy, wet? Is that what you said?
It's very moist humor.
Yeah,
Yes,
very
yes.
moist.
It's very
Kind of
damp.
like mold.
Very damp, very moist humor I have.
Like in a cavern.
Sopping wet.
Sop you up with a biscuit. All right, well, I got to ask about me now. What should I say?
Oh shit.
Who cares?
Should I do the same thing? What is Johnny Wolfenstein known for?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right.
He's an A-lister.
I would bow down and give my life to AI if it said that.
If AI says vegan, I'm gonna fucking pop like
Right.
fucking Mick Foley would in the belt.
All right. What is Johnny Wolfenstein from the Trick or Treat Radio podcast known for? All right. In the chat room, Blue Sky Blue Balls says it didn't mention has to wake up early for work. Nope.
Often tired.
Yeah. And he also adds his sopping wet humor. That's why they call him Mr. Bubbles. All right. Johnny Wolfenstein is one of the key hosts of Trick or Treat Radio, and he's known for a few standout qualities that make him an essential part of the show's dynamic. Enthusiasm and passion for pop culture. Johnny is one of the more energetic and enthusiastic voices on the podcast. He's genuinely passionate about horror, comic books, movies, and pop culture. It says the same thing about all of us. Like, it lists those, even though MZ doesn't know shit about comics. And his
I didn't say anything about comics on mine.
I said pop culture, yeah.
Yeah.
And his excitement comes through in his discussions. This enthusiasm often drives the energy of the show, making it engaging for listeners who share his love for these genres. Number 2, expertise in horror and film. Like the other hosts, Johnny has a deep knowledge of horror films, but he's also well-versed in other forms of pop culture, including comics, video games, and TV shows. He brings a level of enthusiasm and same shit. Okay, I'm going to move on. Creative contributions to the show. Johnny is not just a host, but also a key contributor behind the scenes. How does it know that?
All right.
Yeah.
He plays a significant role in the technical aspects of the podcast, including its editing, production, and the overall sound quality of the episodes. What the fuck? His work ensures the show runs smoothly and professionally, which enhances the overall experience for the audience.
It's fucked up.
Number 4, humor and playful banter. While Johnny brings energy and passion to the podcast, he also participates in the show's humor and playful interactions. He's often involved in the friendly back and forth with his co-hosts, engaging in witty banter, inside jokes, and amusing anecdotes that add to the show's charm and keep things lighthearted. The positive voice, finger quotes, Johnny is often the more optimistic or positive voice when discussing films and topics on the show, as MZ will tell you every time.
Oh, yeah.
While other hosts like Monster Zero might lean into sarcasm or critique, Johnny is typically more open to enjoying films and is less likely to be harsh with his reviews. This makes him a great counterbalance to the more cynical perspectives on the show. And lastly, engagement with the fan base. Johnny is also known for being particularly active and engaging with the podcast fans and community.
Fucked up.
Whether it's on social media, through listener feedback, or by interacting with the fan base during live shows or events, he's committed to building a strong connection between the podcast and its listeners. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Well, let me just say that, first of all, yes, I appeared in 2 background checks on There's mine and on Raven on Wolfie's.
Background
But
checks.
Also, it seems like
you don't have to go. Like, yeah.
I don't know what you would call them. Synapses or synopsis.
It's not
or whatever. I don't know.
synapses.
It's not synapses, but synopsis. But it seems like it uses the same kind of language for just about every sentence that is posted there. They just use a different
Right.
words.
Yeah.
They use just synonyms for different areas. Where it talks about humor, or it talks about banter or interests, or what you like, what you don't like, this, that, and the other. But it all really comes down to being almost the same thing with every one of them. It just differentiates itself between all three of us by AI knowing what our role is, and then just kind of using different language, different words to differentiate that as well. I don't know.
So I looked up EF because I don't want to leave him out.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. No. Put it on the brother in the back over there.
Sorry, I gotta go, guys.
Speaking of background checks, no.
EF Contentment is on the 10 most wanted list in America.
He is good friends with Roman Polanski.
Oh shit, that's not
Oh
good.
man,
I'm
you
just
and I
kidding, I'm
would go
just-
cruising for chicks
and
together
has
over
worked
there at the
privately
local
with Matt
junior
Gates.
high school. Oh man,
God.
that's right, Roman. You and me, baby,
Oh, God.
and literally babies. Oh shit.
So I asked, what can you tell me about EF Contentment? And it says EF Contentment is one of the hosts of the Trick or Treat Radio podcast, and he is
Over.
and he is known for his unique personality and the contributions he brings to the show. Here's what sets him apart: the quiet, thoughtful voice. EF Contentment often serves as the more introspective and measured voice on the podcast. While he may not be as loud or overtly energetic as some of the co-hosts, his comments are often thoughtful and insightful. He tends to bring a calmer, more reflective perspective to the discussions, which contrasts with the more boisterous personalities of the other hosts. Number 2, film knowledge and critique. Like the other hosts, EF Contentment is knowledgeable about film, particularly in the realm of horror and cult cinema. He often provides detailed critiques considering aspects such as themes, cinematography, and the cultural significance of the movies they discuss. I would say that's actually pretty accurate there. His critiques tend to be more nuanced, offering a deep layer of analysis compared to the more surface level opinions of the other jabronis, it should say.
All those other assholes.
Number 3, humor and wit. Though he's typically more subdued in his approach, EF Contentment has a dry sense of humor and delivers some of the podcast's funniest moments in a subtle and understated way. His witty comments often add a different flavor to the show's humor, offering a contrast to the more overtly comedic styles of the other hosts. This is the good one. Number 4, the everyman role. EF Contentment often serves as the relatable, grounded member, offering perspectives that are accessible to the listeners. He's less likely to get caught up in extreme opinions or exaggerated reactions, making him the everyman voice on the show. Someone whose views may resonate with a wider audience. And number 5, chill and laid-back persona. Yeah. He has a calm, laid-back demeanor that makes him approachable and easygoing. This easygoing nature helps balance the more high-energy personalities of the other hosts, and it contributes to the diverse dynamics of the podcast. And number 6 and final, occasional critical edge. While generally thoughtful and measured, EF can also provide sharp critical insights when discussing film or cultural topics. He's not afraid to point out flaws or issues, though his critiques are usually delivered in a way that sparks conversation rather than just criticizing for the sake of it.
You forgot number 7. He's a tiger in the sack.
60% of the time, he comes 100% of the time.
Yeah.
60% of the time he works all the time.
Exactly.
Oh,
Good
shit.
enough for me. I'll give it this. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know myself enough to know, like, to recognize any of that. What AI just said.
Yeah.
But I will give it this. It did say the thing about that I tend not to go with like extreme reactions to stuff like in movies and stuff. Like that's always a thing where like, I'll give myself that. I'll pat myself on the back. That's just how I approach things where like, because that's sort of a pet peeve of mine where like people who are like, it's either the best movie in the world or the worst movie in the world. It's always that. It's always like, that's all. I'll give it that. I feel I'm measured in that respect. It's like, okay, let's go see it and see it for what it is, not for what everybody else says it is, you know?
I would not be surprised if it like, if it like it's fed like the episodes, because I feel like you wouldn't be able to get that because you've been on a handful of episodes, I think 5 or 6 now, something like that, and I feel like you can't really get that from stuff online, right? So it's pretty crazy. Go ahead, Ray Shadow.
But not only like has he been on like for the duration of the show, maybe 5 or 6 times, but he's been a part of the show
Right.
more than we can even remember.
Yeah, the voice messages and
been a part of it and being a brother. And I think that's, you know what I mean? Like, as you know, scary as we thought Skynet was going to be, turns out Skynet's really fucking dope and really personable. And
well, I don't know about that. Let's
no, but I think it shows what we all have in common, and that we're all brothers until the robots take over, and that's dope.
I think you like it only because it complimented you.
Yeah. He's like, play back the tape.
I've been trying to get a therapist for the last year and a half. I might just seek out AI.
Just use Chat GPT, man. There you go.
What?
Yeah, you'll be like that guy in Demolition Man who's at the kiosk, you know, like who is talking about what a shitty day he's having, and then the machine goes, "You look great today," or whatever.
Yeah.
You inspire joy feelings in those around you, and that kind of thing.
I was thinking about Simon Phoenix going, "Jeffrey Dahmer, I love that guy."
Let me ask Chat GPT what our best episodes are.
Oh God,
Raven Shadow talks the most.
I think we're going to break AI doing this, but all right. Let's see.
I love how we can ask AI to cure cancer, but no, talk about us some more.
AI wants us dead. It's not going to come up with a cure for cancer.
Yeah. AI, what's the algorithm to fix cancer? And how funny is Raven Shadow again?
All right, here's the answer. I said, what are the best episodes of Trick or Treat Radio? Trick or Treat Radio is a fan favorite podcast known for its humorous and engaging discussions about horror, pop culture, and geek topics. With a vast
That's not what I fucking asked, AI.
With a vast catalog of episodes, some stand out as being particularly beloved by listeners for their entertainment value, special guest appearances, and memorable moments. Here are some of the best and most popular episodes of Trick or Treat Radio. Number 1, episode 100, the big 100th episode. This milestone episode is a fan favorite due to the celebration of the podcast journey up to that point. It features a mix of humor, reflections on past episodes, and memorable interactions between the hosts. This episode also features listener feedback, making it a great way to dive into the heart of the show's community. Episode 2.
All right, just stop right there.
Why?
Just stop right there, because that can reference just about every episode, every podcast that made it up to 100 episodes.
Well, let me not do the milestones. Here's another one here. Episode 198, The Horror of the 80s, featuring The Last Drive-In's Joe Bob Briggs. In this special episode, the crew interviews The Last Drive-In host, Joe Bob Briggs, who's a cult icon in the horror community. His insights and stories about the world of horror films, particularly from the 80s, make this episode particularly memorable for fans of classic and cult horror cinema.
And we did that.
Yep. It also lists episode 114, The Ghost of Trick or Treat Radio Past. I don't even remember this. I'm not going to read them all. It's funny. It lists... Okay, you know what? It actually lists episodes that are not ours. Yeah.
Talk Without Rhythm episode. That great one with OTC when they were on hiatus when Bill was getting his process done.
Did you guys ever remember a podcast called the Monster Men Podcast?
Monster Men Podcast.
Yeah. Very good.
It says Halloween special with Trick or Treat Radio and the Monster Men. A Halloween special always brings out the best in Trick or Treat Radio. And this episode is a prime example. The crossover with the Monster Men Podcast. Wait a second. Is this a fucking like
Zombie Girl kind of gimmick?
No, I was going to say, is this like a fucking, what I was just talking about, like the Mandela effect? Let me look this up. Because I forgot.
Oh, yeah. That too. You were going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Well, there is a podcast called The Monster Men.
Well, let's not put them fucking over. Fuck you, AI. Just talk about Raven Shadow again and EF Contentment.
So they did. Okay, you know what's funny is they did.
The movie Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat, yeah, yep.
Okay.
So I think that's probably what it was. See, AI is not perfect. And then
That's like when you type in. All right, I'm not going to go there, but if you type in a certain actress and other videos pop up, even though they share the same name.
Yeah, because I looked like the next episode says episode 333, special guest Lloyd Kaufman. I'm like, what? We've never had
That
Lloyd
was
Kaufman.
awesome.
No.
Episode
That was a
242,
good one.
interview with director of The Greasy Strangler, Jim Hosking. I was like, what the fuck?
I wish.
MZ would fucking flip out if we had him on.
Oh my god.
How about episode 444 when we interviewed Martin Scorsese? That was dope.
Yeah, so it's. Should I tell it?
Look, yeah. The episode's called Patrick fucking Skazy. What's his name?
Patrick Dempsey?
Yeah. That was episode 546.
So I'm telling you, those are not all episodes of the TorTR Radio podcast. Yeah. It says, you're right. The episodes I listed above were not comprehensive in covering the full range.
Then what the fuck?
And some of them may not even exist in the exact form mentioned. I apologize for that mix-up.
So fucking just making shit up.
Now it gave me even fucking worse ones. The horror movie marathon recap? What the fuck? A retrospective on 35 years of horror? Yeah.
See, AI is not perfected yet.
No.
It's going to be.
See, it was
the episode we ate the pets. That was fucking
It was
weird.
good. It was good up until that point. But AI kind of had me, but Blue Sky Blue Balls added in, we're talking about my bio. He said, he quotes, he's also a baseball fan, but refuses to wear a baseball glove because he's vegan.
He caught it with lettuce.
And watch The Sandlot.
Yeah, it's got leather gloves. I can't watch it. Our boy Joshua Libre is hanging out on YouTube, and he says, "What up, EF?
What up, Joshua Libre?"
Yeah.
Hey, dude.
So, all right. Well, that's enough. I mean, that was kind of fun until it wasn't. But enough with ChatGPT. Let's see here. So, I did actually want to bring up Mandela effect, something potentially. Now, let me ask you guys. Do you guys remember Ed McMahon handing out big $1 million checks back in the 80s and
Dude,
I think early 90s?
That happened all the fucking time. The
No,
prize
it
patrol,
never happened. It never happened.
Yeah,
He just he just sponsored it. Other people, it was Publishers Clearinghouse, and he himself never passed out the checks. He never went to the doors of these people and gave them a big fat goddamn check. It was people who worked there that did that. He sat on his fat ass and got drunk.
Yeah, those shots were always just of the families receiving the check at the doors. You know, a lady with rollers in her hair, like, "Oh my god!" But McMahon wasn't there.
So, what company did Ed McMahon work with for that? Whether or not he delivered the check?
Publishers Clearinghouse.
Clearinghouse.
No. That the internet says no.
Well, the internet's stupid.
Let me see. So it's funny because Tanya sent me a thing the other day. Like a woman was saying, like in a video, was that it was Ed McMahon didn't have anything to do with Publishers Clearinghouse, and it was like a Mandela effect type of situation.
They had the fucking manila envelopes. It's like, my fucking 25-year-old work bestie today was telling me about Owen Hart fucking dying. And I'm like, yeah, no, I listened to a podcast. I'm like, we watched it live over Wolfie's house. Like, I fucking know. Like, don't fucking tell me.
So it said McMahon worked for a company that was similar to Publishers Clearinghouse, which may have caused confusion. A competitor of Publishers Clearinghouse imitated everything they did, even implying on TV that McMahon delivered prizes to winter stores. And it was known... Oh, go ahead.
Wait, there's a scene in Fletch, the first one, where Fletch is opening up mail and his lawyer, who had just also fucked like Fletch's ex-wife, and he's like, Ed McMahon, Publishers Clearinghouse, he opened it up.
Right.
And then does the Kareem foul.
Yeah, it's been quoted on so many TV shows. Like there's actually Golden Girls say, Ed McMahon, Publishers Clearinghouse. Like there's a bunch of like shows and movies. So the internet says Ed McMahon worked for the American Family Publishers, which was a competitor to Publishers Clearinghouse.
Dude,
I'll give it that. I'll believe that because it could be one of those things, even though it's in pop culture that we associate Ed McMahon with Publishers Clearinghouse. It could be like the way people misremember quotes from movies. Like, for example, like everyone will always say, "Play it again, Sam." Well, he never says that in Casablanca.
No,
he never says
does.
"Play it again, Sam." But people always use that line, and there's other examples like that, and we just accepted it that way.
Yeah,
beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah, the line
dead,
was you played it for him, now play it for me. So go ahead and play it, or something on that idea.
No, that's what it was. It was like
that was the line. He played that. Yeah. You've quoted, "Play it for me."
So it could be a similar kind of thing that we just somehow we all just conflated them, and we figure, okay, it's actually Ed McMahon working for this other company. You know, it's like, I'll give it that. There are other examples of Mandela effect where I'm like, no, you just refuse to acknowledge that you're getting older and that your memory is rusty.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's Alzheimer's. It's not always the Mandela effect.
Yeah, because when you think of like Ed McMahon and giveaways, like I just immediately go Publishers Clearinghouse. You know, like that's the thing. I don't remember the American. I lost
Family Publishers.
Yeah, I don't even remember American Family Publishers like that.
But at that time, at the height of Ed McMahon's powers, that's like, why did fucking VHS beat off Betamax?
Well, actually, that's a very proper term, beat off.
Yeah, I love
because of the porn thing. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. VHS beat off Betamax because it knew how to do the porno. You're telling me that Ed McMahon, at the height of fucking him and Johnny's powers, if he was doing America Comes First publishing, whatever the fuck it was, that sounds dangerous. No,
exactly.
Man.
When the world's getting fucked, America comes first.
Second and third.
America does the fucking, assholes.
Oh man.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's gonna. AI's gonna pick.
There's that grounded and dry wit that EF Contentment is known for.
Yeah, that subtle everyman, whatever that was, that horse shit. That it was impressive. You know what it was? That AI is that disguise that Arnold wears in Total Recall.
Yeah.
It's good for the first minute when it says 2 weeks, but if you push it, then it's 2 weeks, and then it just like loses its shit. You know, that's AI. That's where we're at. Verhoeven once again being the visionary that he is. Now that we're living in fucking RoboCop, basically.
Yeah.
I feel we're all behind some like green screen that shows us skeletons.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. It's just it's showing some
just
kind
trying
of
to run away.
All right, so what is some other Mandela effect? There is the whole fucking Sinbad, Shazam, right?
Yeah.
That everyone thinks Shazam was a movie starring Sinbad.
Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain Bears. Yeah.
No, that's Shazam. No. Wait.
That never happened.
No. There was Shazam with Shaq.
No, that was Kazam.
No, Kazam.
That was Kazam.
Yeah.
Oh, Shazam was Kabubi the Flying Camel. And it was the big jizz.
What was Jizam?
It's one of the greatest fucking unmade scripts in Hollywood.
That is the
right
Mandela
now.
effect. Everyone forgot that existed. Yeah.
No, it was the Berenstein Bears or Bernstein Bears. I think it's Berenstein, right?
It's Berenstein.
It's Berenstein Bears.
It's
right?
Berenstein, not Bernstein, but Berenstein. BEREN Stain. STAIN. I think it's STAIN. Berenstain Bears.
The Bernstein Bears?
Berenstain.
No, Bernstein Bears.
No.
See, that's the Mandela.
That's
effect.
the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
That it's not Bernstein.
I always thought it was Berenstein, but
I thought it was Berenstein. Truly, like Michael Berryman, but Michael Berenstein Bears.
But it's Berenstain.
Berenstain. So you can have Stain in your last name.
No, that's stupid. Stain is stupid. Change your last name.
Hey, look, as in Gabriel Berenstain, the cinematographer of a film you might have heard of called Blood In, Blood Out.
Shit. Doctor's Focus forever, EF. Don't fucking tell me, dog. I love you so much, EF.
Oh, God.
I wish that it was mutual.
There's that irreverent humor.
I'm sorry.
The the everyman.
No,
You're Michael burying me.
It's just
You're
like,
burying
I'm jealous of
me.
AI giving you all the good stuff. No.
And wasn't there a thing with 3PO having the silver leg gimmick? Isn't that a fucking Mandela effect?
His boner. He had a boner on a trading card.
No. But him having the silver leg.
The silver leg. That
No, he had a
no,
silver
that was
leg.
true.
Yeah, he had a
That
silver
was
leg.
Yeah. In the first Star Wars, he had a silver leg. His
I don't remember that.
I think it's his right leg that was silver. Yeah.
They didn't make that on the
He should have
air?
did a movie of Long Gene Silver, MZ.
Yeah, no shit. Right? Jesus.
So, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any others.
Oh, there's plenty of them.
Yeah, there's so many. Berenstain. Let's see here. Yeah, like lines like, hey, actually, our pal Blue Sky Blue Balls said, Luke, I am your father, instead of no, I am your father.
Yeah, there you
Luke, I fucked your mother. Luke, I banged your mom.
Luke, I banged your palm.
Did Mr. Monopoly wear a
Ass.
Did Mr. Monopoly wear a monocle?
No.
Dude.
No.
Yes, he fucking did.
No, he didn't.
He didn't. Oh. See,
Wait, he did or he didn't?
He did not. Mandela
Yeah,
effect,
see,
Raven
he
Shadow.
didn't.
No.
Boy, you are the victim of all these Mandela
Yeah.
effects. What kind of world are you living in?
No. EF, get him.
I have to go with them, man. He doesn't wear a monocle. And again, an example of people just believing that he did. I remember, I think the second Ace Ventura movie, Ace Ventura calls this one guy with a monocle. He was like, "You must be the Monopoly guy."
Yeah.
And he has a monocle, and it's one of those things where like we just assume he
No,
does.
he's like skanking on the fucking cover of it with
Look.
a fucking monocle. I don't know what that is.
It's a floating pack.
I'm
Now he's all dark.
hold on.
Now
Oh,
it's
what
dark.
happened?
This is
put-
great for the fucking
Hold
audio.
your hand up close to your camera, MZ. Okay, now pull it away. Okay, it's better.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, yeah, no, what I was trying to show is that
While he's looking, I just want to acknowledge, like 20 minutes ago, beautiful cat showed up. MZ's cat. I said hi to it. And I think that's what you miss out if you're just listening to the audio version of this.
Yeah.
no, see,
Go ahead.
I play the Monopoly game on my phone.
Oh, jeez.
Shit, I'm sorry.
And he does not.
Yeah, but that doesn't
Wear
mean
a
he
monocle.
didn't back in the day. That doesn't prove anything.
Maybe you can fucking LASIK. It's been a long fucking time.
Who is your
You can certainly
favorite?
afford it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you can fucking cataract surgery, motherfucker.
Who is your favorite?
Race car.
Wait, what? No.
Monopoly
Who's your
piece.
favorite Stone Age family? Animated Stone Age family.
Oh fuck. The whole get what? It's not the Flintstones. It's the Schmintstones, right?
No, what is it? How do you say it?
The Secret of Nim or the fucking Id or some other fucking jabroni.
No, what is the name of that fucking show? You started to say it. What is it?
Jesus.
The Flintstone.
The Flintstone. I'm getting aggressive.
The Flintstones?
Not
Flint.
the Flintstones. The Flint.
As in the city that doesn't have clean water for like 5-6
Yeah.
fucking years.
Yeah, like Flint, Michigan.
The
Okay.
Flintstones.
All right, well, at
Flint
least
from G.I. Joe.
okay, you guys get that one right. A lot of people, for some reason, think it's the Flintstones.
Well, that fish do-
FLIN Stones.
They're dumb.
Well, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. Is it? Did they watch the fucking Jettisons?
Jettisons.
George Jettison, boom, he shoots fucking Melroy into fucking space.
MZ, what is the big song from the movie Grease? What's it called?
God, yeah. It
Grease
could be
Lightning.
any song, really. I mean, I really, if I had to take a guess, I
Oh.
would say "You're the One That I Want."
Okay, yeah, I should have said that's not Grease Lightning. Is it greased or grease?
Oh,
Grease.
it's greased with a
Okay.
D.
Yes,
Yeah.
MZ's right. Okay.
I fucking said that, but that's cool.
Does the Raisin Bran son wear sunglasses?
No.
Yeah, he
I would say
fucking
no.
does.
Yes, he does.
No, he does
I'm-
not. He does not.
Yeah.
That's fucking
No?
bullshit.
I don't even like raisins.
You know what's funny
But
is I wonder if it's because of the California raisins that we think of that. You know?
Yeah.
Because
No,
they
no,
did.
I'm
Say
thinking.
it's like,
No,
you
I'm
know,
thinking of the
say-
sun. I'm thinking of the sun.
Yeah.
I could have sworn it wore glasses, but all right.
All right, let me just do a few more. I'm not going to go through all of these. There's a bunch here.
While you
Oh.
look, I can say it. I'm pretty sure the '90s version of the Raisin Bran would be wearing sunglasses because that's what they would
Right?
say in the 90s, like,
Probably. You
Yeah.
might be right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because it was extreme raisin.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they had to be cool.
This ain't
about
your
it.
mama's raisins.
We got crazy raisins. We're doing blow.
Oh,
These ain't your grandma's prunes.
our pal Blue Sky Blue Balls brings up a good point. And when talking about Mr. Monopoly, he says that's the planters guy. The top hat fucks us all up.
Yeah.
So the planters guy has the monocle, and so maybe
Mr.
we.
Mr.
I don't
Peanut.
fucking
Yeah.
Mr. Peanut. He
Yeah.
has the monocle, the top hat, and the cane,
No.
and not much else.
Bullshit.
Not much else. His peanuts are just hanging out.
Mr. Penis.
Raven Shadow stormed off in protest.
All right, next one. Actually, this actually would have been good for Raven Shadow. He's not here. Did Curious George have a tail?
I'm gonna say yes.
I would imagine so. All monkeys have a tail. So I would say,
Don't tell
or at
me they
least
docked
all,
them.
all monkeys that look like him had a tail. So I'd say, yeah.
It says the Curious George never had a tail, even though a lot of people claim to remember seeing him use his tail to swing from trees. So
Huh.
So
apparently
they
not.
docked the poor son of a bitch. They cut his tail off. He should have gone nope on those guys. On the man with the hat, the yellow hat. What's his name?
How do you spell Oscar Mayer, the Weenie Company?
OSCARMEYER.
Yes. I guess a lot of people say that they think it's MAYER.
No, MEYER.
Yep.
I love to eat it every day, and if you ask me why, I'll say Oscar Mayer has a way of fucking up the USA. I don't know.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was gonna go M.A. I honestly was. I
Yeah,
was gonna say
yeah.
MEYER. That's Oscar. That's my lawyer, Oscar Mayer. But the MAYER. Then yes, I was wrong.
Do you guys like Jiffy peanut butter?
Yeah, the fucking.
There is no such thing as Jiffy peanut butter.
There you
No,
go.
it's Jif.
Jif.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. there
There's
you go.
Jiffy
Peanut-
Pop.
Yeah.
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 There's Jiffy Pop.
Yep.
The popcorn. Yeah.
Yeah, the peanuttery difference in
I think.
Jif.
I think
Yeah.
it's. I think it's Giffy.
Choosy mothers choose GIF.
Choosy fathers choose MILF. What?
Let's see here. Okay, so you guys know the snack cracker, the cheesy snack crackers, right?
Wait, what?
No.
I'm trying to. I don't want to say the name because.
Oh, wait. Okay, with the plastic.
So it
The
starts
little
with
red spreadable.
No. Hold on. CHEEZ.
Oh, Cheez-Its?
Yeah.
Cheez-Its.
So is it?
Yeah,
is it
CHEEZ and
is it
then IT.
Hyphen IT.
okay? A lot of people think it's Cheez Its. Like it's actually like there's a Z at the end of the name. It's
Oh. No.
okay.
No, that came out before the 80s, so it wouldn't
Yeah,
have a Z at the
that's
end.
true. Yeah. All
Yeah, but
right,
is
let
it
me
it
see.
or is it it?
It's it. Cheese it.
Oh, is that what Faith No More was singing about?
It's it. What is it?
It. Sorry.
It's cheese.
Uh.
It's in the back. Yeah, and they really enjoyed them on the tour bus back in the day. It's all they could afford till fucking the real thing dropped.
Okay, what is okay? This is actually this. I don't think this is Mandela effect. I think it's just like we're so used to seeing them that we just don't even pay attention. But What is the correct order of lights on a stoplight? Like from top to bottom, what's the correct order?
Green, red, yellow.
green.
Wait,
Red, yellow, red, yellow, and green.
What'd you
From
say,
top to
Raven Shadow?
bottom.
Green, red, yellow.
What the fuck?
Planet are you from?
That's not even like. I could see if you said green, yellow, red, but
Oh
you
my
said green,
God.
red, yellow.
Yeah,
They don't
you
have
gotta,
that.
you gotta,
they don't
that's
have
why
that
you gotta
shit
put your
in the
fucking
Netherlands.
phones down, asshole.
Can you see it all? How long have you been fucking blind? Jesus Christ.
They don't even have that shit in the Netherlands.
MZ,
Okay?
MZ is right. Red,
Well,
yellow,
Jesus, a 6-year-old could be right about that.
Yeah, but they can't beat the pedals.
They don't need to.
You know, and actually, you know what's funny? Actually, this one I messed up recently. South America is actually not directly underneath North America on a map. It's basically southeast of North America. So
Yeah.
if you look at a map, like look at Florida, and then go down, like Florida is basically as far west as South America goes. So it goes off more to the east. Whereas for some reason I thought that it was like more of a straight line from like Texas down into Mexico.
No.
But I mean, I
It is
haven't looked at
much
a geographical map in like fucking 30 years. So,
Well, it hasn't changed much in that time, Wolfie. I mean,
well, I know, but I mean, if you don't look at it in years, because there is, I was talking to my buddy Alberto from Force and Sensitive about, there was like an F1 race in like, where was it? It was in South America recently, Brazil, I think. And it was in a different time zone. And I was like, why is it in a different time zone? Isn't it like just like, you know, like basically south of us? But it's like, you know, further over. And I didn't realize it was that far east. So that's one I will admit to. Let's see if there's any others here. Yeah, here's the Publishers Clearinghouse one we just talked about. So that one's in there. How do you spell whiteout? The
how it's spelled
Yeah,
on
on
the product.
yeah, on the product.
WITEOUT.
Okay, yep, you got it.
See, pop culture.
What what number president was Ben Franklin?
7.
He was not president.
Boom, MZ's right.
Everybody thinks he's president because he's on money.
Yeah.
He's the only
He's
the only man on money that has never been a president or any form of elective office for that matter.
Okay, here's another one. Which company puts out Stovetop?
Stouffer's.
No.
No?
So is the pizza. I'm thinking probably Kraft.
Yeah, you're right. Rachel, you're right. I actually would have said
Of course
Stouffer's
you would
too.
know that.
I would have said
Man, my mind is
Stouffer's.
blown. I would have totally bet the farm on Stouffer's, and then I would have been
Yeah,
without
no,
a car.
Stouffer's they do the French bread gimmick, but no,
Yeah.
Joey Schron and I, the man of stuffing was our milk, dude. Yeah.
Stuffing was our milk, dude.
And milk was just stuffing.
Yeah, it fucking was a weird. The late '90s was a
Weird
weird
turkey.
fucking time. Yeah, yeah, legit.
Wow.
Okay, let me see. I'm just trying to find some others real quick.
In the meantime, Stouffer's French bread pizza, they still make that?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Good stuff too.
Yeah,
I remember it being really good. It's just I think afterwards, then pizzas got cheaper. I always did like a $6 Little Caesars pizza instead of a microwavable one.
Oh,
But,
speaking of, we'll take a little quick detour here. Speaking of Little Caesars, EF did the tabanero hot sauce challenge with Little Caesars over the weekend.
Real quick,
Yeah.
that wasn't some kind of attempt to like bring that up. I just realized that.
Oh no,
like,
I'm
right
glad
now.
you did.
Okay, I'm just saying like I'm not one of those guys like, oh, like blah blah blah. And then right now it's like I don't
What are
need
you
to be
gonna
that
do?
guy. No. I'd rather I'm more like a woman where I want you to guess it, and if you don't, I hold it against you. But
Goddamn.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were saying that I did this thing.
Oh yeah. So here, let me show. I got mine right here. The hot sauce. Hopefully, I don't fucking dump it. So I got the hot
Yeah,
sauce
mine's
challenge that we're gonna do this weekend. So EF took part because he wasn't gonna be able to make it to the live show, which we had to postpone anyways because MZ was sick as a dog. But what did I guess? What did you think, EF? What was the general consensus?
I mean, I'm not like some master heat seeker, but I can take it, pretty, like higher levels.
Yeah.
I really, it wasn't until the last one that I felt like, okay, this could definitely be challenging for you guys. The first two were really just better versions of the hot sauce you can get at Taco Bell.
Mhm.
Fire and Diablo. They were just like better, like man, if they had this
I
at
love Diablo
Taco
sauce.
Bell, then you're gonna like
Okay,
the first two.
All right.
So it's not it's both a compliment and an insult because it's like if you're
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
like
yeah.
heat but flavor wise, I was like, no, this is good. There's just not really a kick to it. The third one, Triple X, that one is actually to me a better version of Tabasco. It's
Oh
like
wow. Okay.
even though it doesn't have a vinegar taste to it, it's very peppery. And it has like a decent kick. Like I ended up like that was the one I ate the rest of my pizza with that one.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's like that would be like a good go-to. Like, but the fourth one is the one where like that's gonna separate the men from the boys. I try to find another thing. Separate the
MCs.
AI users from the people that actually sit down and write things down from their brain through their fingers. That they think about these things. That's a better analogy. No, that one. Actually, the first time I took it, I started hiccuping. I got hiccups.
Oh really?
But yeah, and that was basically it. And it burns your tongue. And it lingers. So it's like the heat isn't extreme,
Like a
but it
cranberry
does.
song.
But but it lingers. Like the cranberry song. Rest in peace, Dolores Reardon, who I believe died because she drank the whole bottle of that.
Dragon's
It's
breath.
true.
You're
We
just-
can't.
It
AI,
tells
can
you
you
on the
confirm
card.
that? But, yeah.
Don't drink don't.
Don't.
Don't be, you guys are older than that bullshit anyway, where people are like, oh, just check it out, I'm gonna drink the whole thing, and then you're, thinking you're on
Not that
Jackass.
much older.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I realize I still have faith in people because I just realized like, no, people are much dumber and stupider regardless of how old they are. Older, I'm sorry, Johnny, but the president-elect is a fucking overgrown baby. So with
Yeah,
a
boy.
child's mentality, and the
gets
people
his
working
diapers
for him are
changed.
basically overgrown children. Kids, don't listen to your parents. It doesn't matter how fucking polite you are, how the rules that you follow. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay, fucking fuck everybody else over. Look out for number one. Be a piece of shit. Be the worst change you want to see in the world. And you know what? You will be rewarded if you do it to enough people and to the most important people. Anyway, sorry. That's sorry.
Spider-Man was
I didn't
wrong,
know.
turns
You know
out.
what's
That's
funny
fine.
is if you listen to the pre-show, I was so not going to be that guy. But
I love you, EF.
but
so
but
much. Keep going,
anyway,
brother.
and I wish the feeling was mutual. But no,
Once again.
no.
That's an
Sorry,
irreverent
so
humor.
So where was I? Oh yeah, the dragon's breath. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. That one will be fun to hear your reactions. But I could also imagine if you're like a really accomplished heat seeker, you might be like, this ain't shit.
All right.
It'll be fun to hear you guys.
We'll
It's
find
the fourth
out,
one
but-
that I'm waiting to hear your reactions.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that insight, and we'll be testing it out this weekend. So, all right.
I think I'm done, guys.
well,
I'm gonna go cry during the break.
Evil Corny says, "I've ridden with Raven Shadow. He don't be studying no lights." And he says, to correct MZ, Alexander Hamilton is on the $10 bill and wasn't a president. So not just Franklin.
But he was in a play, though.
Right.
And
He's right.
so you guys remember the ramen noodles that came in like the styrofoam cup? What was that called?
Up noodles.
Marshan.
EF's
Broke.
EF got it.
Yeah,
What do you
Martian.
say?
Cup noodles.
Not cup of noodles,
Yeah,
which
not
a lot
cup.
of people.
Yeah.
MZ said the
Oh,
brand name, but like I think, but I grew up thinking it was cup of noodles. It wasn't until fairly recently that I paid attention.
Oh, it's funny. Like I haven't seen this movie in a while, but it says Hannibal Lecter never said "Hello, Clarice" in Silence of the Lambs. It says when Clarice meets Hannibal, he simply says "Good morning." Folks might be misremembering a line from Jim Carrey in The Cable Guy when he says
True.
"Hello, Clarice"
With the chicken skin on his face.
Yeah,
Silence
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs. How do you spell pixie sticks? How do you spell the pixie in pixie sticks?
Like Pixies the band.
Pixie.
Yeah.
P-I-X.
Yeah, yeah, well, the Frank Black spelling.
Pixie.
Nope. P-I-X-Y.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
And just to be fair, maybe not the same fucking thing, but it's Christopher Reeve and George Reeves. Stop putting an S on Christopher Reeve.
Well, you can put it on his chest.
That's what I'm talking about.
And was it Mike and Ike or Mike and Ike?
Okay,
Never
well,
had them, never would know.
What? You didn't have that in California?
No, I never had them. I never even paid attention to them. I just, I have nothing to do with them. I'm
Fuck
an
those
A-lister.
assholes.
I don't waste my time with Mike and Ike.
I don't want Mike and X. I want Junior Mints.
Only the finest candy for me.
I only have 100 grand bars, and I insist on paying $999,000 more than it's worth.
Wait, what was?
I will take a
Juju fruits.
I will take a Ghirardelli and a lint.
Please put some Ghirardelli in my popcorn and melt it for me. I'm an A-lister and I demand it. What were those? Oh shit! What were they? They were like
Now and later.
non-parallels. Is that how you-
Nonpareils.
non-parallels? Weren't those like the little chocolate like
Snow caps are the other.
snow caps? That's okay. That's what I was thinking of.
Non-Perils are the little tiny dot-sized candies. They're like those little tiny. I don't know what you would call them, but
What were the
little
gimmicks?
tiny balls.
Oh,
Well,
so they're
that's
the
not him.
opposite of MZ.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
MZ.
you wouldn't know
Yeah.
anything about that, bro.
Those are
They're
ultra
the EF candies. No,
those are those are the ultra Perels, actually.
Ultra
Wait,
Perels.
what were the gimmicks? No one's ever called it ultra. What the fuck? What's those gimmicks on the wax paper and their little dots? Little
Dots.
dot gimmick.
Dots. I know what
Not
you're talking about.
dots. Not the jelly dots that pull your fucking fillings out. But like the
Jelly.
Dippin'
they'd be
Dots.
like
No, he's talking about the dots.
No,
He's
I know.
talking-
I'm just kidding.
Not the jelly dots. I know what you're talking about, but no, candy buttons. That's what they are.
candy buttons.
Candy buttons.
Candy
Sorry, Johnny.
buttons, Jerry.
I think I interrupted your Mike and Ike thing. What was it? An and or an
no, it's fine.
ampersand?
It's fine. It's and A-N-D.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Mike and Ike.
Mike and Ike.
Like,
And
like
so the let's see. I'm trying to think of a good way to say this without giving away the name. There's that bear who talked about you can prevent forest fires. What was his name?
Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear.
What'd you say, MZ?
Smokey the Bear.
What'd you say, Raven
Smokey
Shadow?
the Bear. Smokey the Bear.
It's Smokey Bear.
No.
Oh man. So Smokey Bear the bear.
Smokey
So
Bear.
it's like, what,
It's not-
like
it's not-
a Huggy Bear.
It's not
No,
Smokey
it's
the
Smokey
Bear. It's Smokey Bear.
That's stupid.
All right, here's one. I mean, this isn't a Mandela effect sort of thing, but
It's
here's
Smokey and the Bandit.
what kind of animal is Winnie the Pooh?
He's a poo.
Honey Bear.
He's a honey
There
badger.
you go.
He don't give a fuck.
It's Honey Badger. He doesn't give a fuck. He's smacking Piglet.
He would
Honey
rip apart
badgers.
Piglet in 2 seconds flat. Yeah, he's a poo. But what the hell's a poo?
You know.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, Pooh Bear?
Pooh Bear.
All right.
There ain't no fucking bear called a Pooh Bear.
A Pooh Bear. Okay, this is the last one. What company made pizza rolls?
Dude,
Oh, I'm gonna
Tostitos.
go with Totino's. On that.
Tostitos.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard EF and MZ. What did? Oh, I was gonna ask Raven Child, but he fucking walked
Yeah,
away. So.
why do you even?
I'll
bother?
answer for him. Geno's. He says Geno's. We say Totino's.
And what'd you say, MZ?
Totinos.
Oh, I thought you said Tostinos. Did somebody say?
I said Tostinos.
Okay, it's
Oh, no, I say Totino's.
yeah. EF is right. It's Totinos.
Yeah. Is it Tostinos?
Yeah.
Well, that was close.
It's just one of those weird things, right? Like it's so crazy. All right, well, that's enough of the Mandela effect. I'm sure we could do much more than that, but we got 2 movies to talk about, which I don't even know if I mentioned what they were. We're going to be doing the films Peeping Tom from 1960 and Poison for the Fairies from 1986. And we'll get into that in just a bit about why EF chose these films. And I'm interested in talking about both of these. So we should probably wrap this up and get into it. So let me do this real quick. So this weekend, we are going to be doing a live Patreon show on Sunday at about 7 p.m. And that's where we're going to do the Tabanero Hot Sauce Challenge. And we're doing our version of Hot Ones, which I think we call the 4 Circles of Hell or something along those lines. We'll come up with a gimmicky name by the time we do it. But we'll be doing that live. And that will be on, what's the date? Sunday the 24th at about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that will be for Patreon supporters only. So if you are a Patreon supporter, you're invited. You are invited, Raven Shadow.
Yeah.
I knew you'd know that.
Angel trumpets and devil trombones. You are invited.
And so it should be a good time. We're gonna eat some wings and some hot sauce and talk about horror and have some hot takes and some hot conversations and some hot fucking mouths maybe. So
Ooh, baby.
we're doing that on live on Sunday the 24th of November. And it will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll share out the link on the Discord. So if you're not part of the Discord and you're a Patreon supporter, just, get at me, message me, or send an email to podcast@trickortreatradio.com and we'll make sure that you're invited. But when you sign up for Patreon, you should get a link to it because it's already in there. So if you're not part of the Discord, let us know and we'll make sure you are. And you can join for as little as $2 a month. So if you're not already a Patreon supporter, you can get in on that low tier, and everyone will get to watch the video for free as long as or for free. What I mean is if you're a Patreon supporter, you get to watch it. So you get to participate, and we'll be making it available after. So it will be live, but if you don't get a chance to join us live, we'll post the video and the audio afterwards, so you guys can check it out. And it goes up from there. You can start in the $2 tier or go up, and you can get your own Patreon takeover if you wish by getting into the Terminator tier, just like EF is. So give that a look and consider supporting patreon.trickortreatradio.com. All right, we're going to do the others real quick. Raven Shadow, just, it's Black Friday coming up, and Amazon has their Black Friday deals starting today. So you know what? If you're going to shop on Amazon, just use our fucking link. Head on over to trickortreatradio.com and click on the Amazon logo. It's going to bring you to Amazon. It's going to input our affiliate link. We get a tiny little cut of everything for sending you there. It doesn't cost them any extra, Raven Shadow.
But it's another way to help keep the lights on.
There you go. So consider that. And finally, on trickortreatradio.com, you can go ahead and get the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio, volumes 1 through 3. I don't think AI is going to give you the proper greatest hits. So if you want them, you got to get them direct from us. So check it out on trickortreatradio.com. All right. So Raven Shadow, you had to watch 2 movies this week, getting you set up for December double feature cram jam. So what did you do to prepare for these 2 films? One of them came
Oh,
out
cool.
before you were born, and the other one came out when you were like 9 years old. So what did you do to prepare?
I was a little fucked up, Johnny. I did have a drop fucking 5Gs on a fucking new oil tank that looks kind of like the fucking Ghostbuster fucking containment unit. That's dope. But then I get excited because we have joining us tonight, we have a brother, a lover, one bad mother. He is a Patreon that's down to get it on till the break of dawn. And you better stow away your resentment, but you motherfuckers better give some love to our dog, EF Contentment. So you know I strap on, brother.
You go through
Right
your
back.
week with the same old routine.
What you really want is some blood and thunder in your life.
Well, friend, you found it.
The Cromcast is an adventurous journey through the history of two-fisted pulp stories
With your host, John,
Josh,
and Luke.
we have action.
horror.
An adventure, all through the lens of pulp luminary Robert E. Howard.
Don't just stay in your ordinary life.
Find your pulp life at thecromcast.blogspot.com.
The Cromcast,
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast!
a podcast for the barbarian at heart.
I'm Alex West.
And I'm Andrea Subasati, and we're from the Faculty of Horror podcast.
And you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
Greetings! We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
He's right. We wax philosophic about lots of geeky crap like old video games and movies, toys, cartoons. I don't know, help me out here.
Music, pants, quoting video games that don't have dialogues, shabibings, tasty news,
Unnecessarily long Japanese onomatopoeia.
butt breathers, uncomfortable nature facts.
or how to install a Samoflange.
And unlike all those other podcasts, we at Retro Redoctopus have an exciting rotating host schedule.
Do we? We sure do.
So, if you didn't like the guy flapping his gums this week,
Like me.
worry not, gentle listener. Next week we'll have a whole new host.
Of problems.
Hey, they might still suck, but they'll suck differently.
And you know what's really cool? Retro Reductopus is part of the Inebriard Podcast Network, with new episodes out every Tentacle Tuesday.
Which is like every other Tuesday. We named it.
Anyways, you can listen to us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, or straight from the tab, reductopus.buzzsprout.com.
I could be standing outside a woman's prison in a fistful of 50s and a bouquet of dildos, and no woman would come near me.
Did you say a bouquet of dildos?
And we have returned on Trick or Treat Radio. All right. Up first, I figured I think both of these will bring about some interesting discussion, but I had a feeling that Peeping Tom could be the one that had a little bit more overall discussion. So I figured we'll feature that one first. Is that cool with you, EF? EF is muted, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we gotcha.
Oh no, I said, yeah, you lead this dance, good sir.
Cool. All right, so we'll kick things off with Peeping Tom. This film is from 1960. It is not rated, and it is 101 minutes. And according to IMDb, I'm not sure if I'd include slasher horror in there, but it says drama, horror, thriller, and slasher horror. And it is directed by Michael Powell and written by Leo Marks. And the film stars Carl Bohm, Anna Massey, Moira Shearer, Maxine Audley, Brenda Bruce, and Esmond Knight, Martin Miller, Miles Mallison. And the synopsis: a young man murders women using a movie camera to film their dying expressions of terror. So this well, first, why don't we go to EF? EF, what? How come you picked Peeping Tom for us to discuss on the show this evening?
So you guys had a Patreon exclusive episode, I think back in February, on career killers, movies that directors made, mostly in the horror genre, that effectively killed their careers. Mm-hmm. And I was going to leave a comment and bring up what comes to my mind when I think of a movie that killed a director's career, this film. And then I was like, you know what? Rather than comment, I'll just save this for my Patreon takeover.
I love it.
And we could just discuss it then. But that's basically it, because this is a movie that did kill the director's career, pretty much.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, MZ, let me go to you before we do first impressions, because I know you've seen this one. I think you own it, right? You owned it?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you did. Okay. But you had seen it, right?
Kind of, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe I misunderstood. Then I guess
the Mandela effect,
Then what was your I don't know, not impression of watching it, but what is the reputation of this movie in the horror community from your perspective? Because it's it's a pretty well discussed film, especially coming out in 1960.
Yeah. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I know very little about this film.
Right.
I know of its reputation. And after finally watching it, because I'll just jump right into it. I did attempt to watch it like maybe 8 or 9 years ago, and for some reason it just didn't grab me, and I thought about revisiting it. Maybe there was something I may have missed, but it didn't really grab my attention. Now that I actually got, my attention going on this film, and I actually saw the whole thing, and I can understand where the reputation comes from. For 1961, I believe it was. It's a pretty heavy
60.
It's a pretty
disagree with that year. I think it's more 61 according to Alexa.
God.
What the fuck?
You're on first name terms with AI now, huh?
Well, I call it computer. I changed it so I could pretend I'm Riker in Star Trek Next Generation. But keep going.
So it's a UK film, and it was released in the UK April 7th, 1960.
Okay.
Deep in the heart of 1960.
So that's interesting. So in America, it was released in 61.
Well, maybe. All I have is the initial release date.
That will lead into my statement, but keep going, MZ, please.
You trying to sound fucking smart. Holy shit.
I know.
What the fuck is this?
He's trying to live up to his
yeah,
reputation.
AI is correct.
He's trying to change his AI fucking his AI description.
But I mean, I knew of its reputation, and I can understand where the reputation comes from. There's a bunch of different factors, especially when you realize it was released in 1960s, same as Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, which is game changer in the horror genre.
Yep.
But I can understand why the qualifications are there for it to be a very questionable horror film. I don't know. I mean, I just never really seen it before. I tried watching it before about 9 years ago, and I really had a hard time getting through it. It didn't impress me that much. But I'll talk about what I thought of the film as we go on. But I know very little about the film, only because after I saw it, I'm like, I don't get it. But after actually watching it now, I kind of do get it.
Okay. I'll just say the first thing I think of when I hear the title of this movie is Mike Patton from Faith No More, Mr. Bungle, had a band called Peeping Tom. And that was the name. It had a self-titled album, and same name, Peeping Tom, in 2006, and it's a tribute to this film. So that was sort of how my introduction to the film. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the album cover is very similar to the film poster. Let me just take a quick look. Peeping Tom. Actually, no, it's maybe I'm thinking of something else. It's a little bit different, but it's like a keyhole, and looking through, there's like a woman through the keyhole. So it's not quite the same, but similar in that in the poster, it's has the camera, and you can see a woman's face in the camera. I have some other facts, but we'll dive in and do first impressions, and then we'll start to get a little bit more into it. Although the one thing I do want to mention here is, you guys remember we did Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho a couple years ago.
Yes.
Well, that was heavily inspired by this film.
I'm sure. And I think this will be part of a future discussion in this episode, not for a later one.
Well, what?
What?
What? A future discussion, not a later one?
No, like a future discussion in this particular episode, but not in the next one.
Oh, well, good. I mean, that's kind of...
You know what I mean?
No, I don't. I still don't know.
No, because EF's here tonight. It wouldn't make sense next week.
He's trying to make himself sound intelligent.
I think
more words than he
Raven
needs
Shadow
to.
is fucking AI.
I am like AI.
All right,
Raven
so
Shadow, AI likes you for who you are,
Yeah.
not who you're trying to be.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't try to impress AI.
No,
'cause
no,
AI
just
is
keep
not
being you.
impressed.
Keep being you, man.
I'm gonna fucking put a ring on AI after this episode. Tell you that much.
Oh, Evil Corny says I think Corny is wearing his fucking monocle. He says my Criterion Collection copy says 1960.
Sounds like someone's a member of the A-list.
I am a member of the C-list, the Criterion Collection. All right, so let's...
Corny.
Do you want to say what you wanted to say, Raven Shadow, about the year, or do you want to do first impressions?
Well, I mean, am I gonna? I feel like I'm gonna get yelled at either way, right? EF, like you've listened to the show before, right?
Look how he
I feel
hides
like
behind
whatever
EF.
Yeah, I know.
right? Like,
You
He's
hide
not
behind me?
Yeah, it's not a human shield. Come on.
Own up to your comment.
Yeah.
yes, he is. Why not?
I mean, look, say what you want. It's not like Michael Powell's going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I'll fight
Not in
Michael
this
Powell.
world, anyway.
Yeah.
Has he passed away?
Oh, he passed away in 1990.
Long time ago. He was born in like the early 1900s.
Yeah.
I could probably kick his ass.
Kick his ass. Kick his ass.
All right, so
Yeah,
tell us the thing about the release date. What did Alexa tell you?
I call it computer again. Like I spent the $1.50 to fucking get it. So I pretend I go like computer, like I'm pushing like a little Star Trek little gimmick.
Wait, you paid $1.50 to do that?
Well, Marion charged me $1.50 to do the app.
Okay,
Hold on,
It's true.
hold on.
And they're like, what?
Hold on.
What?
Hold on.
What?
I
That's the
got
most
an Alexa-
outrageous?
I got an
Okay.
Alexa right over there. Okay. All right. Let me just
might cost money.
ask. Let me just ask the Alexa, and we'll see what it says. Okay.
Call it computer.
No, Just shut up.
I call it computer.
All right.
That's what I do.
Alexa, level 7.
What the fuck is that?
Whoa.
That's for the volume.
Okay, I thought there was some like
I thought
fucking
you were thinking about
command.
those
It's going to
popping out.
shoot missiles at
I
us
was
or
thinking about
something.
like he's on the starship.
Alexa.
You know?
What year did Peeping Tom come out?
Can't hear it.
She's speechless.
All right, it said it was released in the States in November 7th, 1961.
Oh my fucking god!
That's actually not true from what I'm seeing.
Well, it is an old
ask
Alexa.
computer?
It's an old
we've
Alexa.
had this for about. No,
What-
it is. We've had
Wait,
it for about 13 years.
Wait, what? Yeah, but
You have an aging Alexa is what you're saying.
it gets it from the internet. It's not stored inside it. That's crazy. It's
Alexa has bad knees.
It's the Elizabeth Sparkle version of Alexa, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Does
Yes,
your
we got
Alexa
a much
need
sleeker
substance?
version in the kitchen, actually.
Yeah.
So okay.
Hey,
well-
by the way, real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I know that I was supposed to be on last week, right? But then we rescheduled.
Yeah.
So because of that, you guys saw the substance. So to that, I just want to say you're welcome. I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry. I'm just using myself.
So it says, this is on Wikipedia, so take that for what it's worth. In the U.S., the film was released by importer and distributor Astor Pictures in 1962. It was released simultaneously to the markets for genre horror films, art films, and exploitation films. It says it failed to find an audience and was one of the least successful releases by Astor. The film received a B rating from the National Legion of Decency, signifying
Wait.
morally objectionable in part content. The organization identified voyeurism and sadism as key elements of the film in its rating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't get a lot of those in school, but I think B's are pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's better than barely passing.
It was my average. That's
Right? Like,
yeah.
I was a pleasure to have in class, and a C, like a C plus is kind of like getting a base hit or a walk, right? Doesn't fuck.
Yeah, but as far as decency, they're really tough. It's like you have to. If you're not A, then you might as well be burning in hell. That's how they see it. So
yeah.
Well, the human centipede. If you're not first, you're last, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's do some.
So
go ahead, Raj. Go ahead.
all right, yeah. So thank you. So whenever we have a Patreon takeover, I get excited because I wonder why. Like, why are they
giving us money?
Why am I getting excited?
Yeah.
Why
are
do they
we
listen
having
to
a
us?
Patreon subscriber on the show?
No, I wonder why. Like, why do they help us? But no, I'm like Batman in the Batcave. Like, I'm trying to like analyze all the films. Like, what's the hidden message here? You know what I mean? Like, they're doing something, and they're all brothers and sisters, and they wouldn't work us. They want to show us something they love. So I always get excited about that. And while I got focused on the year, like, at least in the European release, or according to computer/Alexa, 1961, and I thought just like MZ about Psycho, right, which I believe was September of 1960, right, MZ?
In the
probably.
year 1960.
Which is fucked up, like, because most of our parents were children then, right? Like, and
Most of them, yeah.
Would have been, you had monster movies, you had Universal
Mobster movies. Mobster movies.
And mobster movies.
Lobster movies.
And some lobster movies in the 50s, and they got really big. But you didn't really have this kind of fucking bad guy gimmicks. And I wondered if this was a precursor to your Norman Bates. You know what I mean? Depending on where you lived, there was no HBO back in the Dizzle. But what I'm trying to say is, like, this movie, I think, was a precursor to what became Cinemax After Dark in lots of ways. This movie's called Peeping Tom. and I expected more nudity, but it wasn't
It's
there.
1960.
But I mean, like, how far are you gonna go? Like, oh shit, she showed below her knees, dog.
They couldn't show
Like-
fucking Elvis below his knees.
Yeah, right, because his fucking
Or
barrage
below his,
hole
not
was
his knees. His,
flapping
I meant his fucking hips.
pelvis. Yeah, below his pelvis.
Elvis the pelvis.
Yeah, Elvis the pelvis fucking Springsteen or some shit.
Pelvis Presley.
Elvis Presley. Was that an episode of Pink Panther?
I don't know.
The cartoon? Pelvis Presley?
That was his actual name. It's a Mandela effect.
Yeah. The king of cock and roll is pelvis.
The king of cock and roll pelvis.
Definitely stole it from the brothers. But no, what I'm trying to say is like the context of this movie was interesting to me, where there was no nudity. It wasn't that provocative. But to have a character do a downfall was probably super new back then. And that's what I kind of gleamed onto. You know what I'm saying?
Gleamed onto?
Yeah, gleamed the cube.
Jesus Christ. All right. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, this came out years before any of us were born. And,
Right.
In the 80s, well, even in the 70s and into the 80s, like, the MPAA lightened up, I guess, so to speak, or there was just more the ability to show, more nudity or violence in film. But maybe this kind of paved the way, right? Like, I mean, films like this could have helped pave that way, even though this is in the UK, released in the UK. One of the things I saw is when it came to America, they actually had to reshoot some scenes because American audiences, I think it was the scene where the woman was laying on a bed and she was she's topless, and I guess they had to reshoot it in America.
But there was no nudity in this.
Right. I don't think she was actually nude in.
And I was looking.
In the original release, I don't think she was actually nude. It was just too lurid. It was like, it wasn't nudity. Yeah. It was just too suggestive, I guess. So they had to fucking reshoot it because fucking Puritan fucking, pearl clutchers.
Well, films back then, like stag reels or 8mm loops, they would have like the inner workings of, ladies' undergarments, with the stockings, and then you get the garter belt with the straps on them,
black strap on the back.
Yeah, and you never got to see that unless they were in these type of films, these little seedy, cheap, homemade films almost. When it got transferred over into big budget productions, that's when the whole idea became, well, now this stuff is starting to get a little bit too lurid. Meanwhile, it's been around for the longest time. Just that the average movie-going public would never have seen anything like this until a movie like
Psycho,
Peeping Tom or Psycho came out, and really it's only the opening scene in which you get to see anything that even comes closely resembling to that, because all the other women are fully clothed. They're just victims. But I also that's the thing about this film is that I think this is why this is it's more controversial, is because all the victims were women, whereas in Psycho you had male and female victims. In this film, you just got strictly male antagonist with female victims and no male victims at all. So, canceling out the possibility of male victims in a film like this, given that it was 1960, the early 1960s in England, no less, tends to put a rather shady view on this kind of subject matter.
Mm-hmm. But unlike Psycho, this movie didn't telegraph the bad guy. I feel it was like, okay, this is the guy.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious. Yeah, it's not trying to.
He was the Michael Myers of his day. There was no guesswork. There was no, red herrings or anything like that. You knew exactly who the killer was at the very beginning of the film.
But I thought, and it could have gotten provocative, but I liked that he was like a normal guy and almost likable. And I loved 1960 21-year-olds who look like they're fucking 38.
I said the same thing. Said the same thing. Well, actually,
you know what I mean?
Ann Massey, she was 24 when she did this movie.
Yeah.
So she was only a couple years older than what she played in the film. But yeah, I agree. She definitely looked like she was in her 30s somewhere.
Yeah. They looked older than us.
Yeah.
In some scenes, some characters.
And I mean, really, the only real heavily provocative character in the entire film was the guy in the shop looking at pictures of nude women and wanting to buy the book.
And he was probably like a 1960 28-year-old.
Yeah, right?
28.
Yeah, he could early 30s the most.
Yeah. Ooh, the pictures. I'll throw in a newspaper. Here's a newspaper. Fucking whatever, dog. Fucking whatever, dude.
Well, let me ask EF. So, EF, when did you first see this film?
A couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
It was a movie that I'd always been meaning to watch.
Yeah.
And then when that thing happened a few months ago where I was going to comment on it, I was like, maybe I should watch it first. And then I went, wait, well, I'll watch it and see if I'll make it the Patreon takeover, and so that I held off until then, and I watched it a couple weeks ago. I knew of its reputation going in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the statement that I was going to make.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because it's difficult to sort of place this film chronologically because, if this is the first time we've seen it, like Raven Shadow, myself, and MZ had tried watching it a few years ago, but we'll watch it, for the first time in total. It's interesting to try to place it chronologically in your head of where things came, because this had to have been a hugely influential film on horror.
Oh my gosh.
Because not like you guys talked about Psycho, sure. But that would have been a small grouping of films like that. And there wasn't much else like that at that time. So it is, it's interesting to try to put it in its time and place and think about it in that context. And like EF said, with the director Michael Powell essentially killing his career by doing this movie, it was a very much ahead of its time, and I don't think it's kind of like in Back to the Future. I don't think you guys are ready for that, but you kids are gonna love it.
Love it.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
it's that kind of deal, right?
I feel this movie is it was the canary in the coal mine for filmmakers like Mario Bava, who a couple years later would make Blood and Black Lace, which to me is a very similar candy-colored, lurid tale, with sexualized violence, and that goes beyond just this is the bad guy. It's there's this disturbing undercurrent of not just the voyeurism from the viewer watching this, but also perhaps getting a bit of enjoyment from it. It's not cut and dry evil and good type of a situation. But because it's the canary in a coal mine, well, the gas is really bad and it killed Powell's career, but it also kind of it got it out of people's systems in terms of they got over the shock from this movie. And I think they were better able to take in a movie like Blood and Black Lace and other films that started, and Giallos 10 years after that.
Yes. Yes.
You needed this movie to be made before those movies. Otherwise, those movies would have been just tarred and feathered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And go ahead, Rachel. Go ahead.
No, say like whatever we decide about the final, when we cue Buster, I think the importance of this movie is kind of off the chains. Like on one hand, this is the 1960 version of Sliver. With
especially the last 5 minutes of it.
Right? With Sharon Stone and the other Baldwin that didn't kill somebody for real.
Oh, that's Sliver. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to think of that movie for a second.
Cold
Billy Baldwin.
Cold Sliver.
Cold Sliver. With Zartan and the Dreadnoks. No. Cold Sliver is actually taking up a lot of the GOP, as we've been announced recently. Fucking Torch is the fucking Secretary of Education. That's fucking weird. Sorry. Real life sucks. But no. This movie inspired shit.
Should I ask AI?
I kind of want to jump in with you guys were mentioning Psycho, because Psycho came out, I guess, months later. I think it was just a coincidence that, like, I don't think Psycho was influenced by this. Although I did read something. The only way this did influence Psycho was in the way it was released, because I read somewhere that apparently because of how badly reviewed this movie was, Hitchcock held off on screening this for critics. Psycho. He held off on screening Psycho for critics until after it was released, because he was afraid. I guess he saw enough similarity, like, man, they hated Peeping Tom. I don't know what they're going to think of my movie. Better to just put the movie out, let the audience make the decision as far as like whether it's worth watching, and then let the critics watch it. Because obviously they weren't ready for this type of movie. And Psycho is kind of that type of movie.
Yeah.
So
Psycho suffered the same fate, actually.
Oh, it didn't do well? Critically?
If I remember correctly, it didn't do well at all in the theater.
Oh no, I didn't know that. I with Psycho. First of all, here comes a ticket to Hot Take City. I prefer this to Psycho.
Wow.
But yeah, but here's the thing. To be fair, I think it's because I went into Psycho with its reputation just overwhelming me. Like, Psycho, oh my God, blah blah blah, and then also knowing the big twist halfway through it. So I just watched it for what it was, and I was like, yeah, it's good. Because I've been told for all these years about what a masterpiece it was. Peeping Tom, I knew about its reputation, but there isn't enough there for me to go like, oh, it's a masterpiece. I just know that it has a very strong following, but it's not a movie that is quoted or visually quoted, or just brought up the same way. There's no equivalent to like people goofing on the shower scene, with Peeping Tom. It's like
right.
There isn't really that. Yeah. So. I think I was more open to like be impressed by it. So I'll be fair, but not that I'm saying Psycho's bad. It's fine. I just think Vertigo's a hell of a lot better as far as Hitchcock movies go. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm checking out here to see the release. So Psycho, I'm looking at Psycho now. Psycho was released June 16th, 1960 at the DeMille Theater and the Baronet Theater in New York City. Let's see. It was the first film sold in the U.S. on the basis that no one would be admitted to the theater after the film had started.
Yeah.
So Hitchcock had a no late admission policy for the film, which was unusual at the time. Let's see. Where's the reception? That's the release. Sorry, I was reading the wrong thing. Let me look at... Okay, critical reception. Initial reviews were mixed. Bosley Crowther of the New York Times wrote, "There is not an abundance of subtlety or the lately familiar Hitchcock bent towards significant and colorful scenery in this obviously low-budget job." Crowther called the slow build-ups to sudden shocks reliably melodramatic, but contested Hitchcock's psychological points. Let me see some others here. Sorry, I'm just trying to scan it real quickly. It was well received in Florida, where the Miami Herald's Jack Anderson wrote, "The pudgy master of suspense has dished up a real shocker."
You could just call him the master of suspense.
Yeah.
You have to bring in his weight.
Oh my God.
Just kind of being a
that
dick,
fucking
dude.
director of great movies did it again.
Jeez.
That pudgy old motherfucker.
Okay, so box office in its opening week, Psycho grossed 46,500 at the DeMille and a record 19,500 at the Baronet. Following its expansion, the following week it grossed 143,000 from 5 theaters. Psycho broke box office records in Japan. Wow, that's surprising. And the rest of Asia, France, Britain, South America, the US, and Canada, and was a moderate success in Australia. It went on to become the second highest grossing film of 1960 behind Spartacus.
Oh,
earning a box.
I didn't think it was that good.
Critically, it was mixed. So
yeah, critically it was mixed though.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot about Psycho. Obviously, I don't want to focus too much on Psycho because we're talking about Peeping Tom. So we'll
this Psycho.
We'll keep that we'll cap it there. But yeah, let's get back to Peeping Tom. But it is relevant because they came out the same year, and there is some similarities between them. So I feel like we're kind of all over the place, which is fine. I don't think we necessarily need first impressions for this because it's difficult, I think, to have a first impression when we've seen so many films that were derived from this that it's kind of difficult to go and say, oh, well, this is like, like so-and-so movie that came out 10 years ago. No, this is one of the first of its kind. And, it is a very, I think, I say a landmark movie in horror because you can kind of point to this and say horror changed,
Mm-hmm.
I think Psycho was more visceral and had more high spots. And again, I'm not sure how it translated to this film. Peeping Tom translated to international markets. I would think that the Hitchcock name may have helped, but the buildup of you have a killer, but also really liked his neighbor, and I liked the blind mom aspect of it. But you could definitely see where if this movie was made in the 80s, there would be a shower scene, would be a topless woman, he'd be filming someone, and it'd be like, maybe take your top off a little bit,
right.
like
He'd go back to his fucking film room and, be stroking one out or something,
Right, firing off a couple of rounds, you know what I mean? Couple of warning shots across the bow. But like you could see where the erotic thriller may have come. You know what I mean? But like that wasn't intentional, but like may have gone, if you will. And you have a guy who is like he's like a little bit of like Peter Lorre mixed with Casper Van Dien in a weird way. I liked his vibe, and as we learned about his dad's fucking gimmick, that was interesting. Which is almost the antithesis of the son and the mom, sins of the mother, sins of the father type shit. It's just an odd parallel, almost akin to X-Men and Doom Patrol in the 60s. A misfit team all fucked up with a leader in a wheelchair. You know what I mean?
I know where you're going. I think most people are like, what the fuck is he talking about?
EF knows too.
You're confusing me with another 2-letter named individual who understands you. But I have to. I agree with Raven Shadow in that.
Thank you.
Viscerally, well, I agree with Raven Shadow.
You just stopped there. Period.
Period. That's viscerally, Psycho is a stronger film. There's no argument there from me. But I feel psychologically, emotionally, this hits harder than Psycho for me.
Yeah.
Because
I think I agree. Yeah.
Because Psycho ends with them basically explaining, okay, this is why the guy is the way he is. And with Peeping Tom, you find out this character of Mark. I mean, fairly early on, like Raven Shadow said, it's like, from the beginning, okay, what his deal is, that he's a killer and stuff. But like, just as early, you find out why. you're already given it. When he shows Helen, the Anna Massey character, his home movies that his father took of him as part of this experiment on fear.
Fucked up, right?
Yeah, really. It's just yeah. And it's and right there, so why, and I think where it goes, even though it was released before Psycho, it goes beyond Psycho, is that Psycho ends with the explanation. Peeping Tom begins with the explanation and then continues from there to go, okay, here's this guy's situation. Now watch as he does what he does. And not only do you watch what he does, because you've already grown sympathetic with him because of his situation, now you're implicit in his crimes. You're watching him do these things, and at least me, I'm watching it, and it's like, especially when Vivian, the stand-in, when he's setting her up to kill her, that's a long, torturous scene for me in terms of like, I'm just like, oh my God, like she has no idea what's about to happen to her.
Right.
And he's setting it up like a film, just because it is a film, and she's just dancing there oblivious and stuff. So there's this part of me that goes like, get out of there to like Vivian, like, what do you do? And then there's this other part of me that's like, Mark, you're gonna get caught.
I know.
Like, and then I'm like, but then you're going, and this is why I think it was so badly received back then, because this was, I would argue, probably back then, the first time you had a movie where this despicable killer, he's not just a killer, like there's there's sexual deviancy behind it as well, in addition to all this other stuff. But like, not only that, but you're kind of asked to be a little bit on his side, or at least to be sympathetic with him, and to just, some stuffy British critic in 1960 watches that, is how dare it's overwhelming, and it's offensive to someone like that. Meanwhile, this same critic probably does then go to the newsstand and is like, "Hey, you got any views?" and buys like porn under the table with with newspapers, like the guy in the movie. Right. That's exactly who that guy. They probably were offended by that. That's like, that's not me.
He looks just like me.
Yeah, so I think that's why this is stronger than Psycho in that respect, because it goes beyond Psycho. Even though Psycho came on afterwards, it's like it gives you the explanation of a situation, and then it goes, now it's asking you to follow him and not completely hate him. Although by the end, I wouldn't say I was cheering for what happens at the end. I wasn't, but it was more like, yeah, it's for the best. It's just, there's relief on behalf of him and any potential future victims.
But he wasn't a mustache twirling villain either, necessarily. He wasn't like, I'll deal with your rebel friends soon enough. You know what I mean? Like,
he was a shy, nice, awkward guy.
Recluse kind of guy.
Yeah, good looking guy. You know what I mean? Like,
but he was fucked up, like, because his father fucked him up.
Fucked him up so bad that he doesn't know what to do when an attractive woman shows up with fucking cake. Buddy, it's all wrapped up for you, and you don't know what to do. It's because your fucking dad screwed you up so much.
But the parallels between Mark and Norman Bates are obviously, they're very, very clear.
But gender-based. Yeah, good, but...
They're very, very clear and right in front of your face, and it's just like what you guys said. Sexually repressive, grew up with parents, singular parents. Oh wait, no, Mark had a mother and a father, but one of the parents is obviously treating them as children, rather harshly and abusively, I guess you could say. And they both seem to have ownership of a multi-living dwelling, and those are just a couple of the parallels, but those are the more obvious ones. Now, whether or not you guys say that Psycho is more visceral, I think this one is more visceral. Really? Are you surprised?
I am. No, I'm not busting your balls. I am surprised.
I just think that the style of this film is really crazy good. The whole idea of using the camera, and the camera is always practically in plain view whenever Mark plans to use it. And we get to see it from that point of view, from the lens of the camera. And I just think that's a very interesting way to put it, I mean, because no other film ever really did that. Other films have done what Psycho has done in terms of, well, if not in terms of the slasher film as we know it today, but as a straightforward storytelling without any. I don't want to say gimmicks because it's not a gimmick. I mean, I guess the idea of seeing the victims die in front of the camera through the camera lens could be seen as a gimmick. I don't know. It's I just think it's a very interesting and I mean, yeah, it has been done since then, but not as often as what Psycho has done. People have more people have copied Psycho than they have copied Peeping Tom. Also, I think the use of color as opposed to black and white in Psycho is a huge plus for this film, because the colors in this film they jump out at you. It's not your average everyday color film from 1960. This one has a very garish and very, I don't want to say saturated, because it's not saturated, because the skin tones in the film pop out really vividly at you. They jump out at you. And 1960s film stock was always very, very fleshy. And whenever somebody appeared on screen, the skin tones of flesh just jump out at you. But here, like the books in the shelves and the carpet and just the way the rooms are decorated just have a very distilled look to them, and it just jumps out at you. It's really a striking look.
Yeah,
I have to
go ahead. Yeah, please. Yeah.
No. I just wanted to piggyback on what you were saying about the color.
Something that Psycho does not have.
Yeah, zero color. But no, I was going to say that about the color. It's a gorgeous looking film, very much in just like Powell's previous movies. But going back to Mario Bava, this and Blood and Black Lace to me would make a good double feature, at the very least, in terms of just how gorgeous they look. They both have that lurid subject matter, but also just the way they're lit, the lighting, the gels, the wardrobe, the sets, reds, amber, yellow, green. Like you just see these. It's a beautifully shot movie, just like Blood and Black Lace. And I think those two movies. I don't have 4K. When I do, I'm gonna get 4K versions of these two movies so I can watch them. But you're gonna. I'm sorry, I was interrupting you, Johnny.
No, that's fine. No, yeah, and I would recommend Blood and Black Lace ASAP if you haven't seen it. It's visually striking. I can't help but I can't go talking about this film without mentioning how within the first, and this isn't a nitpick. It's more of an observation rather than a nitpick. But I couldn't help myself noticing this, and EF, you probably noticed it yourself, and maybe the other guys did too. Within the first 2 minutes of this film, maybe even sooner than that, the entire narrative of this film is kind of completely shot, where you have Mark, he's got the camera, and you got that point of view of the camera coming over to his first victim, who is standing outside, probably next to a window, I think it was, or whatever it was, at a storefront, and it's going from right to left. Well, the funny thing is that if you look closely enough, you'll see the shadow of the cameraman go over, and it's a 2-person crew go over from right to left across to the victim. So even though we're dealing with a serial killer who films his victims with a singular camera hidden in his jacket, that narrative is completely shot to hell when you see the 2-person crew take the camera and move it over from right to left. You could see the shadow. It's a shadow. It goes at the bottom of the screen. Take another look at it. You'll notice it at the very beginning of the film. I'm like, man, no, we can't have that, And I'm like, damn it. I mean, that just ruins the complete narrative of this film.
I was so drawn in, I honestly didn't notice that. Like I'm just looking at like the victim's face, like her reaction to what's about to happen. But I did notice later in the movie, they do that thing. It's like a little minor pet peeve where it's like you're watching a home movie and then it cuts to like another angle of something that is happening at that moment. And it's like, wait, that's supposed to be all single camera. Like all of a sudden we're cutting to another camera. Who's holding that camera? But then that's like old movie bullshit that to me it's lazy. But again, a movie like this is so strong that I just notice and go, okay, so they did that, whatever. Other movies, it'll affect me more. But that's when I noticed something like that sort of, I want to call it a mistake, just kind of a lazy move. It's like you could try a little harder.
It just bugged me the entire time watching this film. Just noticing that, Maybe I am making it a pet peeve, and maybe I am making it a complaint rather than an observation. But it is something that I noticed, and it is something that kind of hindered my enjoyment of the film, considering what the narrative of this film was. But I'm not saying it's a bad film. It's a very good movie.
I also wonder what the original film looked like, because I'm fairly certain we saw the sort of remaster, I guess, or I don't know I can't remember what they call it. The re-release, like on 4K or whatever, or Blu-ray,
or like the restored version.
Restored, yeah. So I wonder how much the color changed. I can't imagine it would be too much. If anything, it would just be more, just a little bit more brilliant colors. The color had to look good initially, or else that wouldn't come through. But I totally agree. This movie looks really beautiful for even compared to movies nowadays. Even maybe more so because you can really tell the difference between film and digital. So, a film that's well shot on digital might not even have the richness that this does. So I agree with all you guys said. Like, even I feel like the set design was very purposeful, like with certain colors popping out. Like I think MZ, you might have mentioned, or someone else mentioned something about like bookshelves and like colors of books like popping off the bookshelves. Like things like that just really, I just feel like they really stood out. It's just a really gorgeous movie, and the use of the use of lighting and shadow, I think, is also very well done. I actually didn't notice the thing you're talking about either, MZ. So it's funny that you're talking about the shadows of the camera crew. I also didn't notice that, but there's a couple shots that are just. The lighting is just perfect for what they're trying to convey. And I just think it's definitely ahead of its time, as you guys called out, like, Blood and Black Lace and, Bava and everything being influenced or seemingly being influenced by this. And I also think that it's a film that has a fairly deep narrative without being too handholdy. And I feel like that's almost something that you didn't see in a lot of older cinema, especially in the 60s. That's like something that that was sort of reserved for like the Kubricks or, like the really good directors. But in this, I like the backstory of Mark and how we see it through these old films. Like, it's not really, it's not him sitting on a couch talking to a shrink or like telling someone. I mean, I guess in a way he is telling, crap, I can't remember her name, the redhead.
Helen,
yeah. He is in a way sort of telling her, but he's reminiscing about the films that he's showing her and talking about how, what his father did. So I think it's really a really effective way of conveying, his sort of mental state and emotional state of where he's at. And it blurs the line. I can't tell if he believes it's wrong or not. Like, you know, like I think he knows that it's wrong, and like he's, you know, because he starts getting a little bit paranoid. But I get the sense that he may not know right from wrong. Like there's a sense of morality that just isn't quite there.
See, I thought he struggled with her interest in his world. Like he's like, no, you can't see this because if you do, I gotta fucking fuck you and kill you. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that too, and I also liked just some of the other stuff that was included, like the book that she was writing about, like this magical camera, right?
See, I thought she was fucking with him a little bit with that.
Oh, I didn't get that.
I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't get that at all. She looked pretty. She seemed to be pretty genuine about her interest with him. So I never got that at all.
And also with the mother, the blind mother, you know, her talking about taking a picture, and you know, and he's saying like, I haven't had that done to me in a long time, like, you know, things like that. I just think it's just this idea of vulnerability, I guess, in a sense, of being captured on camera is like vulnerable, like, you know, like we see some of the actresses and that are in front of the camera, and we get to see him in his most vulnerable state when he was a kid. You know, like his father fucking with him and like putting lizards on him and shit, you know?
Oh, and now imagine, but how fucking hard is this in 2024? And for the last 10 years, we have Lucas fucking film in our fucking pocket, right? Like we can edit, we can film, we can add fucking all kinds of fucking effects. But in 1960, to have a camera, it was a big fucking deal. You know, it was almost like,
yeah.
Oh, sure.
Even down to like, oh, I'm a director, come film something. Oh, you should really take your top off. You know what I mean? Like, there's a more of a magic and myth associated with some of this thing. You're on camera, right? And hell, even I think Wolfie alluded to it, the Robin Williams joint 1 hour photo, where the narrative of that was like someone cared about you enough to take your photo when it was a disposable camera and you only had 12 shots. But we have unlimited shots nowadays. We can film stuff. It was more magical.
Right.
Before we were born.
It's actually, I mean,
you know,
it's a good point. And it's, I mean, I guess in a way it's related to this, but I watched a concert video the other day, like someone was shooting from up high, and you could see a lot of the crowd down below, and I would say half, if not more than half of the crowd are just holding their fucking phones up. They're not actively participating in the concert, not fully anyways, and they're documenting it. And they will likely never watch it again. Like,
right?
You know, maybe like, oh, like I got this cool video. They'll show a few seconds of it, but like that's not as impactful as creating a memory in your mind, in your head, right?
The two shows that I adored recently was when I saw Power Man 5000 with the Maru in March. I fucking marked out. I was singing all the songs. I was wearing my leather and smoking Thai.
Wearing my leather.
Yeah.
Like I think when you say that, people think you're probably wearing like leather pants, leather vest, leather shirt, leather jacket, leather boots.
No,
only leather pants.
Just leather pants. No,
just a just a Leatherman.
Yeah, I was just wearing my Leatherman. Nobody wants that. No, my dope leather jacket, night leather jacket.
You still have that thing,
bro? Fucking 20. Fucking, I had it when I was 20 years old. I'm be 28, dog. 28
That's
years,
crazy.
man.
That's crazy, dog.
Right, crazy dog. But smoking Thai film, me just singing. And then when I saw Social D and Bad Religion this summer with Marion, she's filmed me fucking tapping the fucking banner gimmick, you know, singing fucking Bad Religion, fucking leaders and follows or whatever the fuck. And I was enjoying the fucking moment.
Yeah, and then she threw a lizard on you. I remember that video.
And then she fucking kicked me in the nuts and called me, you know what I mean?
He called you a bundle of sticks in front of everyone.
In front of everybody. And I had to walk home. That sucked. No, but like, enjoy. If I want to see a band live, I'll fucking watch them live my fucking whatever the fuck TV. But just enjoy the moment, dude.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy to me. And you know, we're getting a little off topic here, but I guess in a way it is sort of related. In this, you know, Mark goes back and watches the films. Like it's you know, it's something that is of interest to him. He's not capturing them just to capture them. Although there is a infatuation with the concept of like capturing fear, right? But
like one thing, like I have nothing video on me until the 90s. And I'm sure most of us are the same way. But imagine having video of you in the 60s.
Well, I wasn't born, so.
But that's what I'm saying, though. But like, how
just kidding.
rare is that? Like,
yeah, definitely.
Mark was probably like fucking Francis Ford Coppola to these fucking people.
It's funny you say that, because the director. Well, actually, I think I'm remembering this correctly. Michael Powell actually worked for American Zoetrope, Francis Ford Coppola's company in the early 80s.
Right.
Yeah, he was sort of an artist in residence for them. Like, because what happened was his career more or less ended with this film. He directed a couple more movies, but it was pretty much over for him. But then in the 70s, guys like Scorsese and Coppola and De Palma like gravitated towards him. Like they loved him. And yeah, Raven Shadow.
Sure.
De Palma definitely took a lot from this movie, because I mean, I could name like two movies that had to have come from here, like one being Raising Cain, another movie about a fucked up doctor who fucked up his children with his weird experiments and his children grew up to kill people. And also just De Palma's entire career in general being mostly about voyeurism. There's that. But anyway, he was in Zoetrope as like sort of like just the resident genius old filmmaker, you know, writing his autobiography. And in fact, around that time, Scorsese set up his editor, Thelma Schoonmaker, with Powell, and they ended up getting married up until his death. Thelma Schoonmaker, who's like been Scorsese's editor since 1980 and like one of the greatest film editors around. 84 years old, still editing. She did all of Scorsese's movies, but yeah, so they were married, and she's sort of like, you see her in interviews about Michael Powell's work. She's sort of, because she knew the guy. Yeah, she really knew the guy. But yeah, sorry, but I was interrupting about you were saying that about the working for American Zoetrope.
No, it's just, you know, just kind of throwing some facts out there, but yeah, so it's interesting. He was very, you know, highly regarded, as EF sort of was mentioning there, but yeah, it's we were talking about like the filming and stuff. I don't want to harp too much more on that, but you know, it is it's one of those things I think we take for granted, is that we have the ability to you know, shoot a video or take a photo at a moment's notice now, whereas like Mark in this movie would have to carry a whole fucking camera around and, you know, a whole rig with him, and you know, and that's not something that people did, because, you know, you see someone ask him like at the very beginning, oh, what newspaper do you work for, or something like that, you know.
Right.
Because if you had a camera, you weren't just a normal fucking schlub, you know, you were like work for you're a filmmaker or work journalist or something, you know. So all right, well, I want to make sure we keep this focus as we start to wind down, because I do want to leave enough time for Poison for the Fairies. So is there anything else that any topics that come up for you guys that we haven't talked about with this that you want to bring up?
I guess I'll just throw in a couple things that, like, while I was watching it for the second time before we did this episode, was how I mentioned earlier De Palma clearly was influenced by this. Some elements here are used in some of his other movies, but also the second time I was watching, I realized like, oh wow, there's another a movie that I was reminded of. So I mean, I guess we could spoil this, right? Because it's from 1960. I'll try to. Or I mean, but you find out at the end that in addition, I mean, his method of killing is his tripod. One of the legs, he pulls the the thing off and it reveals a knife and he stabs the woman while he's filming them. He films their death. What you don't know until the end is that he also attaches a mirror to the camera so that the victim sees her own death and it's like gets, he's even more afraid.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up. And it was incredibly fucked up for me. The first time I saw something like that was in the movie Strange Days, because, and this is what I'm talking about. Like in that movie, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's the movie where like they wear this headgear with the English patient. That's the one killers.
Ralph Fiennes,
I was trying to do
I saw that
the
Raven Shadow gimmick. He did the Raven Shadow gimmick.
But it's where they wear headgear that records their experiences, right? Like what they see, what they feel, all that. And in the movie, there's a killer who he attaches that headgear on his victim, and he sets it up so that they see what he sees and they feel what he feels, which enhances the fear that they're feeling because he's getting off on it. And I was like, oh well, I mean, that has to have been like Cameron had to have seen this movie and kind of got like, let me do like the 21st century version of that, and watching the original version, it's no less disturbing. It's the idea of that. So that was just something that I just wanted to like kind of throw in, was like that thing where I was like, oh yeah, you see this, it shows up in other movies one way or the other. It very much was a landmark film as Johnny put it out, regardless of how much you like the movie or if you like the movie at all. I think you do have to give it its props for what it basically put out there and what the sins that Michael Powell's career died for.
It's crazy because if you look at this now, you would think like, oh, like I can't wait to see the other movies that Michael Powell did after this, but then you find out like, well, I mean, he did some stuff, but it kind of killed his career, or at least like drastically slowed the momentum. It's like, what the fuck? Like how?
Yeah, you're just better off going backwards and go off with the movies he did with Emmerich Pressburger, like The Red Shoes. The Red Shoes was a movie I almost programmed for this show once, like on a Phantom Thread type of kick, and then I was like, just because there's just a little bit enough where you could like, I could just bullshit into saying that it's like, oh, it is kind of horror, because if there wasn't Red Shoes, there wouldn't be Black Swan. But no, I'll just recommend it to people who are listening who haven't seen it. Go, please watch The Red Shoes. It's really good. Black Narcissus, the Life of Colonel Blimp. That check those movies out if you just want to see like really good filmmaking and also mourn what could have been if like the stuffy British intelligentsia, didn't have it out for this motherfucker,
Yeah, no shit, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. It's a shame. I mean, it's just crazy to think like it just was so far ahead of its time that people it was such a shock to people that they just couldn't comprehend what they were seeing. And now, I think we're a little desensitized by things like this. So it's a little easier. We can watch this and be like, oh, this is pretty tame right now.
Right.
But back then, yeah, no way. It was, this was definitely not tame. Let's see. Anything else you guys have in mind to discuss?
Not really.
All right. I think we can probably head to the verdict on this one. There's probably a lot more that we could say, but I want to, in sort of fairness of leaving time for the other film, I think we should probably wrap this one up. So why don't we do that and do the verdict?
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, it is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Peeping Tom was a trick or a treat, and any final thoughts. Let's start with MZ.
Well, I'll say that I found it I thought the character, what's her name, Anna Massey's Helen. I thought it was a little bit hammy the way she was like feeling rather disgusted and horrified by the fact that she's watching the film and he's, as a little boy, Mark is laying there and he's got a little lizard or a salamander on his chest and he's just wandering around a little bit. And the way I think she was kind of overreacting a little bit with stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I know 1960 England. Yeah, I know, but you know what?
Well, keep in mind, people didn't really have home videos back then either. You know.
No, but that's not. Well, that's not the issue. I mean, the issue is it. I mean, that could have that kind of scene could have been played out right in front of her. Would she be equally disgusted and everything like that? Yeah, probably. So, I just think that was a little hammy. But overall, I mean, this is a great psychological study into a serial killer. You know, it's really good. It's right there with Fritz Lang's M in a sense, and of course we'll also throw in Psycho as well, and the visual aspect, like Blood and Black Lace, like you were saying, EF, and just the color palette of this film is absolutely gorgeous. It's so striking, but it also looks so dated and so aged and so antiqued. It's really the color palette is just absolutely amazing on this film. It's not a scary film, but it is a suspenseful film because a lot of these scenes of him with these women are really drawn out to its absolute nth degree. So it's just a matter of when. We know how, but it's just a matter of when. It's a real good movie. I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd, and I give this one. This is a treat. I enjoy this one, and I'm gonna have to watch it again just to get in a little bit more of the things that I may have missed. But well acted, well edited. My only gripe is that camera at the very beginning, but that shadow. But other than that, yeah, this is worthwhile. Check it out.
Also, I forgot to mention, one of you guys mentioned it, but I think it is worth bringing up is that this may have been like one of the first movies that had like a unique weapon, like that was like a gimmicked fucking tripod. Like that's pretty fucking badass, and like
pretty fucking good.
I can't think of too many movies that would have even had something like that, because this is kind of like an outlier back then. But nowadays we try to, like in horror movies, we see different unique deaths with different weapons and things like that, and they're always trying to one up.
Terrifier franchise, right?
Right, yeah.
Its whole gimmick is to up the gangsta of all the fucking deaths.
Yeah.
Psycho had a fucking butcher knife. Not saying that's not fucking scary.
Right.
But
especially when you haven't seen much of that. But yeah, like a tripod that's turned into a blade.
With a mirror.
Right. Yeah.
That's
pretty fucking out there, man. That's pretty crazy. Right? All right, Raven Shadow, how about you?
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, you don't know where you're going till you know where you've been, right? And I think that's something this movie has a lot to say and a lot to see, right? Like, was I completely blown away by this? No. But do I give mad respect to it? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, once again, am I more of a fan of John Byrne, George Perez, and Todd McFarlane over Kirby and Ditko? Yeah. Do I give them fucking mad respect for everything they fucking led to the fucking genre? 100%. And I give this movie props, man. And it's fucked up that the director, ended up on food stamps or whatever the fuck. But
well, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but
whatever the equivalent of is 1960. But no, man. I mean, this fueled a lot of fucking Cinemax After Dark pictures. Just saying, as someone that chafed his way through the 90s.
Chafed his way through.
You know what I'm saying? Come on. I may be a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
He might be a creamer, but he's not the only one.
Yeah, boy. What I'm trying to say is, I think You know what I mean? Check it out. This is what
Jesus,
started
you know
it
what I
all.
mean.
You know what I mean?
All right. So, did you say trick or treat? Come on.
Yeah. You know, it's a fucking 1960s treat.
All right. EF, let's make it official.
Before I continue, I just wanted to bring up something that like Raven Shadow was saying. I don't know if he's on food stamps or something, talking about Michael Powell. I just wanted to add, like, based on what I've heard and from Thomas Schoonmaker in interviews, he actually was like he wasn't bitter about it, about how his career turned out because of the movie. He seemed to have, like, according to her, like, he was in pretty good spirits about it. It was just I guess his attitude was more like, well, it just didn't work, and this happens, and he just kind of seemed more bemused by it than anything, where it's like, it's funny how this movie was forgotten in the 60s, but now in like the 70s and 80s, it's the movie that gets brought up the most now with like people like Scorsese and stuff like that. But I mean, good for him for having like a pretty like healthy attitude about it,
Yeah.
Because there are filmmakers who've, their movie doesn't do well, and they're like already on social media going like, oh no, people suck and nobody, and his thing was like, look, man, maybe I was ahead of my time. I think, he had the Marty McFly attitude that Johnny mentioned earlier, where it's like, look, I guess, that maybe you guys weren't ready for it yet, but your kids are going to love it,
This is the album that influenced your favorite musicians.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Know what I mean? Like,
and
this is the Professor Longhair of fucking slashers.
Yeah, it's oh God, I forgot the name of the band. I was gonna try to jump in with you and be like, oh, it's like this band, the one that Lou Reed was in.
Professor Longhair influenced the guy that influenced Elvis.
Oh shit! I almost said the Stooges. That was not Lou Reed.
No.
That was Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop. Fuck yeah.
But exactly. I can't think of the name, but basically every band that you like, listen to them. It had their album, and when it pops up, just
Velvet Underground.
Velvet Underground. Thank you. There you go. It was a Velvet Underground. Michael Powell was the Velvet Underground of these type of films, of like this proto slasher, proto giallo. I get why Scorsese loves this. It's really good.
Yeah,
sure.
And while it's not a bloody film, nor does it have a significant body count. No, exactly. It doesn't have to be, because it still lives up to its reputation as a movie that can get under your skin. It got under my skin anyway, and disturb you with the thoughts that maybe you're not looking to think of at the moment. What was that?
It was almost more so that it didn't get sleazy or provocative.
Right. That's why when you mentioned that earlier, where it's like, oh, you kind of thought you were going to see this and this. I'm glad I didn't, because just because already the air of this film was like, no, we're good here. We're good at this point. Yeah. Although today that movie would definitely have just tits and ass all over the place, and and I get what you mean. Like, I could totally see like in the 90s, people kind of going like, look, I want something like Peeping Tom. I want something that feels like Peeping Tom, but like not so much with the killing. Throw a bit more sex, a little less of the killing, but give me that feeling, that dirty.
There was a movie like
wrong
Call
killing.
Me. There was one with a circus movie with a guy named Bobo that was a clown. Like, there's some fucked up pictures out there. The Banker with the dude from fucking
with Robert Forster. That's the only banker I know. It was like but I don't think he was
Duncan Richelieu. Fucking that dude. He had a compound bow and like killed call girls. Like, fucking weird pictures.
But
my parents had cable.
Oh no! Hey, we had the satellite with the Scrambler, so we've seen all that stuff. Seen stuff from Canada. But it's a whole other can of maple syrup. But
all those Canadian snuff films.
They're very polite snuff films, though. They apologize while they're doing it.
Hey, come on, guys!
We're so sorry.
Kill you, eh?
We're sorry.
Sorry, so sorry. They're slicing up the person.
I'm gonna wear your skin, eh? Make it a toque.
Make a toque out of your skin, eh?
Don't be such a hoser. Take the skin off. I'm sorry. I'm digressing.
Silence of a toque, eh?
Have the moose. I couldn't get it out. I couldn't get it out. I screwed it up.
Yeah, it's not good.
Look, what I said. It's a fascinating character study in regards to Mark Lewis, the character of Mark Lewis, played by handsome Peter Lorre.
Casper Laurie.
Handsome Peter Lorre, man. And if nothing else, it's a feast for the eyes.
Yeah.
Making both the mundane and the CD look so gorgeous. And like I said, it's right up there with Blood and Black Lace as far as like high quality, candy colored, lurid, sexy tales.
Candy colored lurid tales is the fucking episode title, and I'm gonna be handsome Peter Lorre on Blue Sky.
Candy colored lurid tales is the name of the HBO series that I'm trying to get off the ground.
Yep.
I'm trying to bring it back to the 90s, like when you had like Real Sex
Classic Guy
and like
Confessions,
Tales
yeah.
from the Crypt, and those shows. Like I want to have this half hour, because Skinamax isn't around anymore. I'm gonna bring it back.
We're bringing Skinner back.
We're bringing Skinner back. There you go. Meanwhile, listeners are like, I wish I had my time back.
No.
Sorry, we're just amusing ourselves.
I wish I had my Patreon back.
I want my Patreon back. My $10 back. First Cocktober. Now this.
Fuck you guys.
Wait, you guys went woke with that Cocktober shit. No,
Yeah. Let's see what Outside the Cinema's doing. Fuck you guys.
You'll get me back with Vaguary, maybe, but not Cocktober.
Vaguary. Oh!
Sorry.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. This is
I
just
don't know.
this is called torturing MZ. Who's slowly starting to exhibit signs of orange, and like the lines are forming, and like the stem on the top, and it's like we're time. Sorry.
It's do torture a duckling.
Do torture a duckling. Yeah.
All right. Did you, EF? Did you say trick or treat?
Oh, treat. Yes, I said treat.
I figured. I mean, it was
all
obvious,
that
but
mess and all that self-luxuriating mess. I said treat. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, for me, I'll try to make this quick because you guys covered a lot of it, and I think this movie is great. It's bordering on. I think it's bordering on masterpiece. It's very well made. There's really not much fat on it either. I mean, sure, it's 101 minutes. It's not that long, but I feel like everything has purpose. All the interactions with the characters are purposeful. I really like the interaction with the mom and Mark. Kind of like about 3/4 of the way through, when she was in his room, and she's like, I'm always in this room. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, right. I thought some of that stuff was really, really well done. And it's just gorgeous. Yeah. I think it's a great looking movie. It's got some really interesting concepts that were way ahead of its time. And clearly this movie was hugely influential for other films that came after it. And I got to say, like, even for 1960, the killer's weapon was like incredibly inventive. But even now, I would say that, if we saw a movie that came out now, I would be like, wow, that's pretty fucking cool. Like, dude uses the tripod, like that's genius. But no, this came out, 64 years ago. So yeah, it's there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. Performances are really good. I think, Carl Bohm is good as Mark, and Anna Massey as Helen. Yeah, I think it's a really cool movie. If people haven't seen it, they've probably heard about it, but definitely check it out. It is let's see, it's on several streaming services. It's on Tubi, it's on Roku, or you could even just rent it from Prime or whatever. But yeah, it's out there. You can watch it for free if you have the right services. So Peeping Tom, treat for me, really well made film, and I'm really glad that I got a chance to finally see it. So thank you, EF. All right.
Like I said with the Substance, you're welcome.
Yes. By the way, did you like The Substance?
Oh, 5 stars on Letterboxd. I like it.
There you go. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump right into the next one. We're gonna truncate this one a little bit just because it's 11, but I think that this one will be a little bit easier to talk about. Not that there's, not that it's for lack of conversation, but I think that Peeping Tom, just due to the influence that it had on the genre when it came out and all that, like I feel like there's a sort of greater conversation to be had around that. But the next film we're going to talk about is Poison for the Fairies. And this is from 1986. It is 90 minutes, and it's classified as a fantasy horror, also folk horror, I guess, sort of works. It is written and directed by Carlos Enrique Taboada. Taboada. Thank you, EF. You have to correct our gringo pronunciations. The film stars Ana Patricia Rojo, Elsa Maria Gutierrez, Leonor Lasas, Carmen Stein, Maria Santander, and Ernesto Schwartz. And it's interesting because really you only see a couple faces in this. And that is the two main characters of Veronica and Flavia. And the synopsis for this flick: a 10-year-old girl convinces a lonely classmate that she is a witch, forcing the child to become her assistant. Though their games are initially rather naive, they gradually take a nasty and violent turn. So this film from 1986, it is obviously it's a Spanish film from Mexico, and let's see if there's anything else. Okay, those are the basic facts. Now, what I'm really curious to find out is what made EF pick this film.
Well, mainly, and I'm sorry if you had just said this and I didn't catch it because my attention was 100% on MZ's cat, just like making biscuits in the background.
Yeah,
I'm just like, oh, I could just you should just do an episode on the cat. I just like, cats rule. That's how I'm sorry.
MZ,
Animals
next time,
in general, cats and dogs.
We don't want to see you next time. Just have the cat, okay?
No. Or instead of like, sometimes you replace MZ when he leaves early with like him passing out from his own laughter. You could do a GIF of just his cat making biscuits, just a close up of the cat making biscuits. And that's all. You watch Patreon go through the roof, baby.
Yeah.
You're going to be right up there. Tell Joe Rogan to go fuck himself. You're the new guys around now. It's like, No, you guys are too good-hearted to be that famous. You're too decent as human beings to be that fucking popular. But I'm sorry, I'm about to get started again, so I'll just answer your question about why I picked it. So, sorry for flashing my brown card here, but Carlos Enrique Taboada, the writer-director of this film. See, the thing with someone like people like me.
See, if I do that, I'll sound like a fucking dumbass.
See, which it shouldn't be that way. But you know what? I'm in sort of a similar boat because a lot of American-born Hispanic people, Latinos, we're stuck in this place where like we have to code switch our pronunciations, or else we sound like you.
Which you don't want that. You don't want that.
Depending on the crowd. So it's like with you guys, I'm gonna say Carlos Enrique Taboada. But if I'm hanging out with like Spanish speakers, then it's like Carlos Enrique Taboada because with you guys it's Los Angeles. With them it's Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, I guess it's like, how dare you? It's like you're stuck. It's like what's that line in Blood and Blood Out? It's like white on the outside, brown in the inside, whatever. You're stuck in the middle or something like that. Yeah. But it's like, I mean, I'm not quite that guy, but still. So anyway, he wrote and directed a movie that I had programmed for a previous Patreon takeover, Even the Wind is Afraid.
That's, you know what? I actually meant to look that up. I wonder if there was a connection. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, and I was looking into, and I had only seen that film over, I was really familiar with that movie growing up, but I'd never seen his other movies, but I knew of his reputation of being in Mexico like one of the the respected genre filmmakers of the 70s and 80s. And I'd always been meaning to watch his other films, and then Vinegar Syndrome came out with a set of his movies, including this one. And so I thought like, okay, well, I was just waiting for a good transfer of this to come out so I could watch watch it and then also possibly program it. And then real quick, because I know Raven Shadow likes to try to make connections between movies that Patreon people pick. It's like there was no connection. I just like picked these movies. They were on my list, but I could create one right now, which is that Peeping Tom, the character of Helen, Anna Massey's character, she's writing children's books. And at one point she says like, yeah, I write children's books, like, you know, something like Hans Christian Andersen, Brothers Grimm, like those type of stories.
Yeah.
So I like to say Poison for the Fairies is the book that she wrote after her experience with Mark Lewis. Like it got darker.
Funny. Yeah.
It got darker. It was like it is for older children, and it got darker. It's just like you know, her outlook had been painted a certain shade after dealing with all that, you know. But anyway, yeah, that's why I picked it.
All right. Awesome. I actually had meant to look that up to see if the director did Even the Wind is Afraid, or if there's some connection. But I'm glad you mentioned that. So, all right. Well, let's get some first impressions on this one. MZ, how about you? You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've never heard of this movie before, ever. And I was kind of amazed with it. You know, I mean, I have a theory about why you see just the kids' faces. I mean, they have parents. You never see their faces. You do see faces of other people, but
when they die.
Yeah.
And there's like, and you do see the grandmother who looked like a witch.
Yeah. But I have a theory on why the parents aren't shown. Well, you're saying that they're dead?
No, I'm saying they showed faces after, like, for instance, when the piano teacher died, they showed her face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I see what you mean now. I didn't look anything up, so this is just my theory. I think the filmmaker just wanted to keep this film strictly kids and witches, kids and witches, basically. That the parents aren't that essential to the story, so showing them was really there was really no reason for it. So I guess the director wanted to keep the focus on the kids, and the more the camera is on the kids and on no one else, the more you have a feel for them, the more you realize you're seeing this movie through their eyes.
It's perspective. It's from their level, as if you were a kid. Like as the viewer are on their level, basically.
Right. And if you were to put in any kind of parental units in there and show their faces, then that feeling would be lost. So that's what I was thinking. I don't know if that's right or not, but that was what I got out of it. I thought it was a little unusual to think that possibly that just because one act of I don't know how you would put it, but of witchcraft would somehow come to fruition, and it, you know, there's nothing here to prove that this is, you know, that the witchcraft that they practiced had this effect on this one person, just that this person died. That one thing kind of anchored the rest of the film, and the beliefs of one person, and one person believing another person that they are indeed what they say they are, which is a witch. But throughout the rest of the film, there's really nothing to indicate that this little girl is a witch. You know, she's just going by this one act of where, by coincidence, someone happened to die after they create a spell, and that's supposed to anchor the rest of the film. I don't know how I feel about that. It seems it feels kind of loose to me, but it's a very interesting movie. It's a very compelling movie. It's got some good tension to it too, because you want to see how far they're going to push this thing. And they do push it, but ultimately it's based on believability and whether or not you can buy into what's going on based on the fact that the story is anchored off of one incident that really doesn't prove anything, because it's barely mentioned at all throughout the rest of the film. I don't know.
All right. Is that all you want? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go next, mostly because I just want to kind of comment on some things that you said. So I disagree about it hinging on that one thing. That was just one coincidence. And I don't, this film came out in 86. I'm not going to be too shy in talking about some of the stuff that happens, but this is all manipulation. Like, she was not a witch. And it's interesting because, let me get the name again. Flavia, who is the new girl. She had no friends. She's new and she doesn't know anyone. And everyone at the school knows Veronica, and they understand her fucking gimmick, so to speak, Raven Shadow. They've been through it. They know what she's like, and they have mostly shunned her. So when Veronica sees, oh, there's a new girl, I can get her under my spell, my claws. Yeah. She tries, and because Flavia is so eager to make friends and to fit in, that she kind of goes along with it. And the scene that I'm actually glad the way it ended. I won't say how.
Right.
But
the ending was great.
But
the ending was great.
When Veronica basically was like, "Give me your dog," and promise that you won't ever try to get him back, I was like, fuck this girl. I was like, fuck her. You do not do this. Don't fucking do this. And then she did, and I was like, oh fuck, what are you doing? And then the ending happened. I was like, oh, like, I feel like she was kind of almost playing into it, like giving her a false sense of security. But I don't know. I thought it was like, this is like to me, this is like Guillermo del Toro before Del Toro. This is a fantasy horror, much like what's that?
The fucking
Pan's
like
Labyrinth, or something along those lines, where it's one of those things where is what's happening on screen or what you're led to believe actually happening, or is it just imagination run wild? And in this, like, we know what kids are. I mean, well, we were kids at one time. Like, we had, everyone's imagination is fucking crazy. And, when someone says that they can, do a spell to Satan, make a deal with the devil and kill your piano teacher, and you hate piano class, and you're like, yeah, of course, let's go. I'll go along with this. Go ahead, Rain Shadow.
No, I thought a lot of that too, and I thought a lot of it. And I know you guys are gonna fucking bust my balls, but when Pete Ross found out that Clark had powers in Smallville, but legit though, I'm not doing a gimmick. Imagine if your boy or your girl had powers. How are we gonna fucking do that? And I was actually, when I was watching this, I was texting Joey Tron like, oh, what if we fucking did this story? You know what I mean? Like, what about Laura and the Flies? But they had fucking powers, right? Like fucking shit like that. You know what I mean? What if Piggy could fucking turn to fucking metal? Whatever the fuck. But there was a great line in this that I'm forgetting now. God damn it. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting what I was popping for. What the fuck was it?
What was the scene?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Oh my gosh, I'm totally fucking blanking right now.
I'll tell you a line that I popped for. That was kind of,
maybe tell me. Maybe that's
it was this one where, it's late in the film where Veronica says, she's like, she's explaining to her about witches. She's like, witches are wicked. I want to be the most wicked of all. And like, and I remember when I was like, oh man, that's when I went like, man, Veronica's the kind of girl who rooted for the bad guys in the movies. You know, she's the Goodfellas. Like, it's like that was my like joking thought while I was watching that. Oh, you remember?
The line was, how come I don't pray when I go to bed?
Oh yeah.
And the mom's like, because you're not afraid. Or along those lines. Basically, like, the mom's like, because you're a fucking badass.
Because Flavia's parents, they're pretty awesome in that they're, I mean, evidently they're atheist and they raised their child that way, where they only sometimes celebrate Christmas. And it seems more just because of the custom, not necessarily because what it's, what it represents. And it's the mother who says that to her. It's like, yeah, because they're afraid, but you're not. That's why they pray. It's bullshit. And then I think the father later on says, I think Flavia asks him about stuff that like people did back in the day of like witchcraft and stuff like that. And the father was like, oh, people were really ignorant back then. It's just like he's just it just straight up like it's all superstitions, like all that. Well, what's interesting is that like they raise her in that way, but it has the unintended effect of having her basically starving for some kind of legend and some kind of supernatural thing. So when here comes Veronica, like saying, I'm a witch and I do all this stuff, to her, that's all blowing her mind. That's all brand new. So she's totally down. And I think that's also why she's open to be like, oh my God, she made my teacher disappear. That was the Home Alone line. No, she killed my teacher. But then she also like freaks out, where she has a nervous breakdown at the precariously muddy funeral that they have for the piano teacher. Because that thing is like on the edge of the grave, and it's muddy. I'm like, that thing's gonna slide. But yeah, going back to that line, that's the line that made you pop over. It's like, yeah, because they're afraid. But I just wanted to say, like, the difference between Flavia is like she was raised to pretty much not believe in anything, and then meanwhile you have sort of the opposite with Veronica, who is being told by her nanny all these stories about witches, and it has the unintentional effect of making Veronica believe like, hey, maybe I could be a witch. You know what I mean? Like that nanny I think overestimated Veronica in terms of like, you don't think she's going to take this stuff literally, or at least, if not literally, in the case of what she does to Flavia, use it as ammunition, like use it as like, oh, I could do this to like manipulate people, like this stuff that you're telling me. It's just but yeah, I just saw like the sort of differences between those two girls right now. You just reminded me of that with that line.
Right, but 100%. Like I would, as a kid, like I wanted to be Luke Skywalker so much. As I got older, I'm more Han Solo. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I get it.
You want that. You want to believe in that something, and it's when, I mean, I was always the youngest. Not always, but for a good chunk, I was always the youngest of older friends. And I would look up to older friends and be like, oh, you can drive, and it was almost magical that they could have a car and, you know what I mean, smoke butts or whatever the fuck. And, you know what I mean? You always want to look up to your older friends who seemed to be cooler. And that's what I liked about this dynamic. I like kids who are unfettered with stories, whether it be the Teen Titans and George Perez, Marv Wolfman, whether it be the Monster Squad, whether it be the Lost Boys. I liked gravitating towards kids that didn't need grown-ups to do their thing.
Yeah. Sorry, let me just we got off. I think that's pretty much it. I think this is it's a well-made movie, and I like how, I mean, it's pretty scant with horror in terms of like the typical trappings of horror, but I think it still is like kind of a horrifying story to see how easily this girl gets taken, by Veronica. And I think that like, I'm trying to make it not too political, but I mean, like, I could see a lot of similarities in like people just getting taken by people telling them fucking lies, right? And how if you want to believe it's easier to believe in something like that. And I think in this, Flavia was looking for something, a friendship or something that she was willing to believe these stories, and especially because, like EF kind of intelligently pointed out, is that the parents were, sort of more, I guess, I don't know if like atheist or agnostic, but like just that, they weren't filling her head with all these different stories. So now that she has someone telling her these stories, she's, kind of is like, oh, like maybe I believe them. And, there's that coincidence with the teacher, but there's other things that kind of go along with it that seem believable to Flavia. And I actually really I think the movie takes a turn in the last act when they go to the vacation home. Was that the vacation home or
Yeah, pretty much. It was Flavia's family farm.
Yeah.
But it was like their vacation home. Yeah.
Yeah.
They go to.
And actually, I thought it got better like at that, because I feel like they were almost on like this quest, like they were collecting all these items, and they were actually kind of getting along a little bit better. Like you can see that they could have been friends, but but then Veronica gets a little bit fucking cocky, and and then that's when she asks for the dog. It was like, fuck, like, yeah, like that. You don't do that, right? You don't do that. You don't take their fucking dog.
It's tough enough to do that to an adult,
right?
Okay,
right.
Like I want your dog, I want your cat. Now imagine a child.
Yeah.
And you're telling that child, I'm taking your fucking dog. Like, I mean,
Fuck you.
like it's so heartbreaking. Like, I kind of teared up when she's telling her, like, I want you to repeat after me that this dog belongs to me, blah, 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 whatever. And the camera dollies in on Flavia's face, and you see the tears going down her face, and she starts, like, to me, that's not acting. That's like what a little girl who's having her heart broken would act like. The way she's talking, the way she's crying, like, none of that is cinematic, so to speak. It's not.
It's reacting.
It's very real.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of the acting by these two girls, to me, seemed very real and not movie-like. Like the way they talk to each other. Maybe it's lost in translation, but to me, I'm like, oh yeah, this is how kids would. They're not being witty. They're not being cute. They're just being like straight with each other. The way they speak and the way they act.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Very
Go
organic.
ahead, Johnny.
Very organic.
Yeah.
There you go. Organic.
That's what I was going to say. It was very organic. And so of the two leads, Anna Patricia Rojo went on to do a lot of movies. But the girl who plays Flavia, Elsa Maria Gutierrez, this was the only film she was in. And I thought she was pretty good. I thought they were both really good. I mean, I think Veronica was definitely, she had to show a little bit more range. So I think she was able to show it. But I thought they were both really convincing and really good. So yeah, I mean, this is not the typical kind of movie you would see. Like, I actually saw one review where someone said they started watching it. It felt like an early 70s, 80s like Disney film or something. And I kind of agree with that, but it gets into like darker places pretty quick,
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
It takes that turn. It's a Disney 70s Disney movie that then goes audition on you somewhere along the way.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll save the rest for my verdict. So how about you, Raven Shadow?
Yeah, no, I mean, like I love two misfit kids or friends finding each other. But yeah, there was the inherent darkness of it. And yeah, it's funny, as we discussed it, the parental figures in this did come off like a Tom and Jerry cartoon. We see them from the back, or like the only Thomas, you know what I mean? Like the legs up, that kind of stuff. But no, I you wonder where it's gonna go, and that's what I got really into. I got into what the fuck how are they gonna go? It's a Spanish speaking film. I just kind of I was along for the ride, but also trepidatious during it, and that's what I liked about not knowing where it's gonna go.
All right.
No spoiler. It was 86. What the fuck? You know what I mean? But
All right, let's go to EF and find out his first impression. So EF, you said you recently watched this for the first time, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, and my very first impression was in the second scene. I'm like, they must have gotten the producer's nephew to do the Foley work, because when you hear them walking to school, it's like clomp, 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 clomp.
Yeah.
Clomp. It's just like, and at first, and I'll be honest with you, for a second, I was like, oh, I was like, is it going to be like that kind of movie? But then no, after that, everything was fine. It's you know, the scene before that is this like, I thought it was going to be an evil child, bad seed kind of movie, because it's this black and white scene with this little girl killing someone. And there's like a lot of this, like, you know, 60s, 70s style blood. And I thought, okay, it's going to be that kind of movie. You find out that's just a story being told to her. And what this turned out to be was, surprisingly for me, was like an intriguing character piece. Really, this like it was really like a twisted children's tale. Written by Helen from Peeping Tom.
Right.
And the other thing I noticed while watching it was like, I know that this is a slow burn. Like, I can feel that this is a slow burn, but like Raven Shadow said earlier, I was so interested in what was going to happen next that it didn't try my patience. If anything, it just made me more intrigued. Like, okay, where is this going?
like, where's the punchline?
Yeah, and I'm watching, and I remember at one point I had to stop the movie to go do something, and like I saw the runtime, and I realized like, oh wait, there's like, we're already like, there's 20 more minutes left, and like nothing. I mean, one serious thing happened, but otherwise it's just more about like these interactions between the two girls.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, where's this going to go? And ultimately, I felt rewarded by it. Like the whole time I was into it. And it didn't let me down at the end. It certainly didn't I was surprised. Not only did it not let me down, I was kind of like bowled over, like, oh, wow, you're going there with it. Okay. Hey. It's almost, you know, if anything, what happened was me kind of, the movie did what I would have wanted it to do and didn't expect it to do, considering like the dog and everything. And my mind was already going like, you know what? I wish someone, and then I was like, oh my gosh, she's doing it.
Yeah.
It was just like, she's doing it. And I'm like, I didn't know this was a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was intended to be, but that's how I took it. But the other thing, something that you mentioned, Johnny, you beat me to the punch with this, where you mentioned Del Toro. Now, I think I mentioned this with Even the Wind is Afraid. Del Toro is a big fan of Taboada. He's like mentioned him many times, like on social media, as like one of his big influences, and making movies like tell people like, oh, you should watch this guy's movies. This movie, more than Even the Wind is Afraid, feels the most like a film that was influential to him. Particularly, I feel this film would reside very comfortably with The Devil's Backbone and Pan's Labyrinth. Like, it's that kind of movie.
Okay. Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't mind a remake by Del Toro. Like, I could definitely see him really doing something like this at the same time. But I'd rather he makes a new movie. But I'm saying, but if it came out that he was remaking it, I wouldn't be upset. I'd be like, okay, I'd be intrigued. Also, I guess you could also, if you want to double this up with something like oh God, I'm blanking out now. The Peter Jackson film with Kate Winslet.
Heavenly Creatures.
Heavenly Creatures. I think there's a little bit of that in there.
Yeah.
There's even a little bit. And then even, I mean, and maybe I'm being a little silly here, but something Raven Shadow mentioned about like Misfits and stuff. A tiny little bit of like a Ghost World in there, like in terms of like these two like oddball girls sort of like out of place becoming friends with each other. You change a few things in this movie, and this could have been a very heartwarming tale about two girls becoming best friends, with oddball interests, and it certainly didn't go that way.
Take it all aside. Take away the fire.
Take away the fire. Yeah.
Take away the dog.
And also
it's the girls next door.
It's the girls next door. You know.
But yeah,
I'll be honest. I would have. I mean, aside from Veronica being manipulative, the type of girls who will ditch school to go look at mummies at a museum are girls I would have loved to have been friends with at that age. You know, those are totally like that. That's like my crowd right there. That also beats Ferris Bueller ditching school to go watch fucking French modernist pointillism paintings. But
it's fucking pointless paintings.
Something I didn't even think about until Johnny brought it up. when you said like you didn't want to get too political with it about people wanting like so desperate to believe in something they'll just believe this bullshit that someone tells them.
Yeah.
I'd like to just add to that. Hey, look, there's always hope that the people that fell in with the president-elect will have their Flavia moment at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I want to be like Nelson and be like, ha ha.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to head to the verdict in a moment, but is there anything that like really stood out that bears like at least a mention or a quick conversation?
Going back to like the difference between Vero and Flavia is Flavia's literal minded. That's how she was raised, and that's how she sees what she believes what she sees or what she's told. And Veronica just has this wild imagination. There's a scene late in the film that I think really encapsulates that. And in retrospect, it's kind of tragic, where they're at the farm and they pass by these horse carriages, and Veronica's like, oh, let's get on these horse carriages. They're just the carriages, no horses. Like, let's get on them and race. And Flavia's like, race? There are no horses. And Veronica's like,
oh yeah.
She kind of shrugs. She's like, pretend there are horses. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
And they both get on there, and Flavia immediately is pretending to like ride like faster. And Veronica, Flavia is too busy, like she doesn't want to get dirty.
Yeah.
And I feel like right there's the difference between them, like where this one girl's wild imagination, like she's so quick to be like, yeah, I could pretend this is I'm riding on a horse, and like Flavia again, shit, there's no horses, it doesn't make sense, why would I do that? It's like, and I guess later on when then they're going like on like on a hunt for ingredients for their witch's brew, then you see that Flavia starts getting dirty, like she's getting mud on her clothes and everything, and it's sort of this thing like, oh, she's gone all in with Veronica, like now she doesn't care about getting dirty, stuff like that. But I mean, I don't want to just go on. I don't know if MZ had anything else he wanted to say. I think we sort of took over this this talk.
MZ?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this movie is all about manipulation. And I really like how far was it
Flavia?
Veronica.
Yeah.
I love how Veronica how far she pushes the whole thing. Not only just the dog situation, but how she says things are going to be really bad if you tell your parents. Things are going to be really bad if you tell the truth. Things are going to be really bad if you don't do what I tell you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going to be really bad this, and things are going to be really bad that. And I mean, you don't really see things getting bad for her, even though there are moments where she does deviate from what Veronica wants.
Yeah, she just holds that over her head. Like she uses the teacher Ricard or whatever, the piano teacher. Like she's gonna come and get you, like even though she's dead.
Yeah. Right. It's total manipulation. It's a whole head game thing, But then again, they're kids, and kids play head games with you. They played head games with me, when I was a kid, and up until maybe about a week ago.
Until a week ago.
Up until yesterday, I'm like, get your fucking kids out of here.
They're tricky bastards, those kids. And but it was just a good majority of the film is just based around how far she's willing to push Flavia, and how far she thinks she can goad her into doing what she wants her to do. And it's, and then like the culmination is with the dog, and, and I was like, you Wolfie, I was like, no, not the dog. Don't give up the dog. Don't give up the dog. But when you see the end, it's like, and that ending,
it goes hard.
The way that, right? And you think it's going to go somewhere where there's going to be some sort of resolve, some sort of heroism, even though it would be for the antagonist, and it never comes. And it's like, holy shit, they went that far with that. Jesus Christ. And just the way that was shot with the double exposure during the last minute and a half of the film. Oh my God, that spoke volumes. You know, I mean, and ultimately we don't know what's going to happen after that, but in the end, doesn't really matter. It's just a really well made film. You know, I just enjoyed the hell of it. It's surprised me. You know,
there's apparently, at least according to IMDb, an alternate ending. And it says an alternate ending was shot where both girls escape. I'll just say that. I won't say what it says after that. Not just one of them, and swear each other to secrecy. It says also Jamie's murder is edited out on most TV prints. Was Jamie...
I don't recall a Jamie.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't think it was Madame Ricard.
Or is it the opening scene? Maybe that story. Maybe it's that.
Oh, it says so. The actor credited is Miguel Cain. So Jamie was a guy. I don't remember that.
I'm gonna put some scrutiny on that. I think IMDb, anybody could write something, because I looked up stuff about this movie and there's nothing there that says about alternate prints. I mean, this is the one that you watch on Tubi and Shudder is the same print Vinegar Syndrome got and used. And to my knowledge, there's nothing there about like an deleted scene or whatever. I don't. Miguel Cain, as in Michael Caine. I don't know. That might be. I just realized that. I mean, again, the people. IMDb, if you really want to, if you hate yourself, just go to like your regular IMDb trivia for like any given movie and just read some of these things.
Yeah.
Some of them are decent and some of them are just like, why is this trivia? It was like, Keanu Reeves, you look up in John Wick, Keanu Reeves fires a shotgun. Keanu Reeves also fires a shotgun on John Wick Chapter 2. It's like stuff like that. And that's actually, there's even worse than that. I don't know about that. I don't see where in the film there would be that murder.
Yeah.
Where you would fit that in.
What are you reading, Raven Shadow? Like,
he's the guy who put that trivia in there.
What?
What are you reading? Share with the class. Come on.
Marion sent me some pictures about our Christmas card. One is me and her as Alabama and Clarence in True Romance.
That's pretty awesome.
And then it's pretty good. They're in the movie theater. And the other one is she's working on it. It's Wild at Heart with Sailor and Jurassic Park.
You can't wait 10 minutes? Can't wait 10 minutes?
Now it's going to be 20 minutes because I'm going to digress into a quick little story. I saw a double feature of Wild at Heart and True Romance at the New Beverly Cinema about 12 years ago, I want to say. Nice. And like after Wild at Heart, Edgar Wright hosted it, right? So he came up and he had he was there to talk with like a producer of Wild at Heart, and the producer's like they're talking and he's like, oh, wait a minute, I think I have to answer this. And he walked over to the emergency exit and he opened it and Laura Dern walks in. We were like, oh shit. And Laura like, it was a surprise as she comes in and she starts answering a couple questions, and then she goes, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I have to go answer this. And she goes to the emergency exit. She opens it, and David Lynch walks in.
What the fuck?
And the whole theater loses their shit. Like we just thought, and not only is it the theater, Edgar Wright had zero idea that anybody aside from the producer of the movie was going to be there. So he's literally like, you see it on his face, like, what the fuck? And like when Lynch comes in, he's doing like the we're not worthy thing to him. And you could see like Wright, probably more than all of us, was like the most geeked out that fucking David Lynch came in. And then he came in to like answer questions and stuff. So anyway, I'd love to see those Christmas cards.
Oh yeah, you're going to get one. We're working on it. Johnny's not because he's fucking being rude. But that's cool.
I'm not being rude. You're the one being rude. You're looking at your fucking phone while we're having a conversation.
I'm listening.
EF gives us his hard-earned money to have a takeover, and you are taking time looking at your phone.
I'm listening to him.
What did he say? What did he say?
Fucking smash it, dude. What the fuck?
God damn it.
All right, Lindsay's going to turn to a fucking blumpkin if we don't finish this up. So,
All right, I'm gonna go. I'll tell Marion that I'm in trouble now.
well, I think she can probably hear if she's listening live. You also don't have to look right now, you know? Don't blame her. Don't shoot the messenger.
All right, I put it down.
I'm not going to, we'll do the music. Let's do the verdict, starting with MZ.
Yeah, this is a decent movie. It's all character development, manipulation. Not again, another one, not particularly scary, but it can get pretty dark, especially when you realize that it's 10-year-old girls involved. But the interest is to see how far Veronica is willing to push Flavia, and how much she's going to try and convince her to do her bidding. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen. So is The Way of Witchcraft. This is a good movie. It's a well-made movie. It's a well-shot movie. It's a well-acted movie. I enjoyed this, and the ending is hard. It's a decent ending. It's a simple ending, but it's a hard ending, and it's a satisfying ending too, I might add, because after what happens throughout the film, man, it's like something's gotta give, you know. And while it's not particularly violent, it does send a message, especially with the way it's edited and put together, because and as simple as that is, it sends a strong message home, and it's really neat. And I was satisfied with the ending. I enjoyed it. I gave this 4 stars on Letterboxd as well, and this is a treat for me. I did enjoy this.
All right, Michael Ravenshadow.
Yeah, I mean, normally cinematic 10-year-olds aren't my gimmick, but I like the context of this movie in the parlance of the times. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you. But no, I that's fair.
We didn't say anything.
No, I know you didn't. And that's
we're trying to.
palpable.
MZ's going to turn to a fucking.
Well, I know he's got problems. Sure, he does.
Turn to a blumpkin.
I was hoping that you and EF would fucking help a brother out, but that's cool. But that's dope. Thank you, brothers. But no, kids got problems. Sure, they do. We all did. But I think it was magical in its darkness. And you know what I mean? Listen, I've been led astray by older friends. You know what I mean? It took a long time. You get misled. What the fuck you gonna do? Got problems. This probably inspired some movies. I don't know them all.
EF, if you want to cancel your Patreon, you're more than willing to do so.
I'm trying to say, probably barely a treat. No, type of treat. You know what I mean? But it's fun. It's inspiring.
It's inspiring.
Yeah. What makes you want to go learn some witchcraft? What do you think of that?
What exactly did it inspire?
Yeah.
Witchcraft.
Not real witchcraft.
Witchcraft has been around a hell of a lot longer than this movie.
Yeah, but I haven't done witchcraft a lot. I'm thinking about starting it up. I was gonna do yoga, but now I'm thinking about we're gonna do witchcraft.
Yeah, you'll get in good shape with that. Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, Expecto Patronum.
You'll get in good shape going to fucking trying to chase lizards and snakes
and puppy dog tails.
All right, EF, let's hear the verdict.
Well, first, I'd like to apologize to the tepid treat that is Michael Ravenshadow and tell him that I did not catch the. It took me a little bit to catch on to the Big Lebowski reference you made during your verdict. That's why I just kind of sat there like blank-faced. I didn't. Also, another thing Ravenshadow might appreciate that I'll just throw in about this movie was that that I caught the second time I was watching it. Veronica is left-handed.
I saw that too. Yep, I did. I was like DiCaprio. Yeah, I popped.
You did
I did.
She's left-handed. I mean, I do that every time I see someone left-handed in like movies or real life or something, right? But
are you lefty too?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it
Jeez.
the first time I was. Yeah.
I drink a lot though, is the thing. But no, I popped. I
don't drink enough is the problem.
Here's the thing. I thought the other one was left-handed, but I realized I was packing my bowl looking into the mirror. And it's still a legit shoot. Legit shoot.
Do you shop at the Leftorium?
No, I just was packing a bowl and looking in the mirror, and Ollie was on the bed. But no, I saw the other one, the blonde, had the left hand flowing.
Which, I mean, I'm sure it could just be as simple as like the actress is left-handed, but I also like to think that it's
because she's a bad
also,
girl.
Yeah, well, because like in the past, it's like left-handedness was associated with like witchcraft.
Right.
They actually killed
sinister.
some women in the Salem witch trials for being left-handed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that little like whatever you would call it, trivia or something. Feelings almost mutual, but the
Keep saying that with my feeling.
I know. I say it to everybody. Don't worry about it. Okay, so my verdict is like it's like the other type of other film that we covered. Even The Wind is Afraid. I feel if you're a film buff or a serious horror fan, you should check this out just to cross it off the list. It's for not, if for nothing else, to just watch a very well-regarded genre film from Mexico. I can see how some might find this slow, but one man's slow is another man's deliberately paced, and to me, it's the latter. It's a dark, kind of a Brothers Grimm-like tale.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like that to me. That focuses more on character than on plot. But I feel the pacing works in the film's favor because it allows you to take in the behavior of both these girls, how they react to one another, and stuff that they do, the manipulation in particular. And ultimately, I feel the viewer's patience is rewarded with quite the punchline.
Yeah.
A punchline that, again, like I said earlier, hopefully a certain percentage of this country decides to reenact in real life, realizing that they've been sold a bill of goods. Or to put it another way, if you have to see a movie about witches this weekend, fuck Wicked. Save yourself some time and money and watch this on Tubi or Shudder instead. Treat.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this is a treat for me too. I enjoyed it, and I liked the way it built, and it went places I didn't think it was going to go. And it, for Veronica pretending to be a witch, she gets sort of a justifiable ending, I guess. For yeah.
Oh shit!
It's pretty crazy. But no, this is a fun. Well, I don't know about fun actually. I don't know if I'll say that. It's not a fun movie, but it's a nice sort of kind of hidden gem. I know Vinegar Syndrome did release it, but still, I'd say that this is definitely a hidden gem for a lot of folks. It is deliberately paced. I'll agree with that, but it goes places when you just want to know where it's going to end up, and yeah, it's almost like they keep one-upping things where the stakes get a little higher. And yeah, I thought that the last third of the movie was really well done. So yeah, this is it's a cool one. Poison for the Fairies from 1986. And this one also is streaming several places. You can watch it on Shudder, Tubi, and it's a 99-cent rental from Prime Video if you want to do that. Or I don't know, like it says Fandor. I'm not sure what Fandor is, but that's another Prime Video channel you can subscribe to. So it's out there if you guys want to check it out. Poison for the Fairies from 1986. So there you have it. That is our discussion on Poison for the Fairies. And next week, this is a tough one because I'm trying to think. We got a lot of movies coming up in December, and I was going to try and pick one that was maybe a little bit longer this upcoming week so that we didn't have a long movie in December. But you know what? Like, I think this one could warrant having a longer discussion, whereas in December we have to kind of sometimes truncate discussions a bit because we got two movies to talk about. But next week, we are going to talk about a movie we've mentioned several times on the show and have been looking forward to, and that is the remake of Street Trash from Ryan Coogler.
Oh, do.
So it just hit VOD 2 days ago, and it actually will be coming out on Screambox in December. I was gonna wait for the Screambox release, but I want to see this. I think we're all anxious to see Street Trash, and you can get it on Amazon Prime. You can rent it for $3.99. So if you don't want to wait for Screambox, I mean, you can just rent it for. Actually, it's $4.99 for HD. I think it's $3.99 for SD. And it's 85 minutes and directed by Ryan Coogler. This is the Street Trash remake. I guess I don't even know if you can call it a remake, because I think Ryan Coogler has said it's kind of like a sequel in a sense.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Acting like a maniac. Street Trash.
All right, so that's what's up for next week, and it will be. I guess it's on Thanksgiving, right? So.
Oh, fucking Black Friday's coming. Fuck, that's what I'm doing, baby.
Does that work for you guys? I know, Raven Shaw, you said you're good. MZ, you're available on Thanksgiving. We didn't even talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So we'll do the show same time, same place next week. Yeah. So we got to wrap this up because MZ is gonna. I could see, look at his eyes. He's falling asleep as we speak.
He's got problems.
But before we start saying goodbye, let me just check the voicemail, actually, see if we got anything. I don't think we got anything this week. No, nothing. Okay, so nothing for voice messages, but we did have a couple messages from our boy FTM in the YouTube. And so this is a little bit ago. He said, "Evening, family, and an especially fine hello to EF Contentment." And it was at a
belated hello back to FTM.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
And while we were talking about Peeping Tom, he says, "Ooh, Peeping Tom is one of those movies that makes you feel icky." He said, "I'm glad I saw the film to appreciate it, but it's never on my list as a fun relaxation film."
Yeah, it's not going to calm you down.
No. And he also said, "Monster Zero, my niece thinks you have a cute little kitty."
Wow, that's a euphemism.
No, it's not. It's his niece.
Thank you. My cute little kitty is appreciative of
First
that.
time niece, FTN. All right, so we do have to wrap this up, though. So firstly, let me say to EF, as always, it is an absolute pleasure to spend some time with you, and you always pick some really great flicks that we otherwise wouldn't have seen or weren't on the radar. So I always appreciate that of you and your picks. But these were really two very good ones. So I appreciate you selecting these, and as always, appreciate your friendship, your support, and also your monetary support. But also, you said something super sweet. I don't know if it's something that is for public consumption, but we're sort of making the plans for this episode and around a big event in the United States that happened a couple weeks ago. And so you gave us some I don't know if I consider it praise, but EF had talked about how he appreciated that we're not like other podcasts out there.
Yeah, you guys suck.
That's fair.
So I don't want to speak about private conversations, but I appreciated what you had said, and it means a lot. So as always, EF, it's a pleasure, and can't wait to do it again. So thank you very much, and please let folks know about your podcast and your blog and whatever else you want to let them know about.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with the least important stuff first. I have a blog/podcast called Exiled from Contentment, and I actually posted a new post. The last one was in May of 2023. I posted one on November 5th this year. So it was like the second worst thing you could do that day. to yourself next to like watching the election results. But yeah, I have a new episode up. It's a blog, so I just write all about movies that I've watched and all that stuff. But then there's a podcast version if you don't like to read. It's just that. It's just me reading it and like adding like clips from the movies and stuff like that. I'm also on Instagram. Yeah, the most recent episode is about a couple of horror movie marathons that I attended in October. So check it out if you have about an hour to kill. But more importantly, alluding to what you were talking, like what I told you, Johnny, in that message, I kind of made a comment earlier during this episode that pretty much
you did, actually,
where it was pretty much that I said something to the effect like you guys are too decent to become fucking famous. And that's pretty much kind of what I talked about in that message, where it was just the inherent decency that I wrongly perceive in the people that host this podcast that I listen to and occasionally sit in on. So that's basically it.
Well, I appreciate that. It is a compliment that we're too we're too good to be to be famous or whatever.
Yeah, and it's just people are like, oh yeah, did you listen to Rogan? You listen to this? It's like, yeah, I did, and then it became a shitheel, and it's like, and it's like there's a lot of other people, and you know what? That's the thing. If I never think of myself enough to be like to consider giving anyone advice, right? But if I'm gonna go ahead, I've had enough drinks to, I'll give it a try. Try. How about not listening to ultra famous, ultra rich podcasters who could give a rat's ass about you and who feed you horrific, wrong information? How about just trying, other podcasts that, seem more like people you might actually want to hang out with, like genuinely hang out with, not hang out with like, hey, I'm friends with this guy kind of. Why did I sound like Arnold there? I'm friends with this guy. Yeah, this is my friend right here. His name's Frank Columbo. Yeah, he's dead now, but
you want to watch?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
That I've yet to do a podcast that doesn't end with me doing that impression. But no, but I'm just saying it's like that's what I look for is podcasts that I just like, that I listen to it. I'm like, yeah, these guys seem pretty all right, like decent people and stuff like that. And most importantly, if you really want a podcast like that, you listen to mine.
Such a brother.
No. I mean, look, I'm dragging this out. Basically, yeah, you guys are all right.
Well, we appreciate that, EF. So let's go around and say goodbye to the listeners and to EF, starting with MZ.
EF, thank you for joining us, brother. Thank you. And thank you for everything that you've done for the show. Appreciate it bigly.
Of all the words you had to use, man.
No, out of all the words in English.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone else is bringing up
I know, right? That's yours.
Politics,
you know what? Yours is the least connected, so you did better than us.
So thank you, and arrivederci, douchebags.
All right, Raven Shadow.
I definitely agree that AI is wrong, but if it was right, it was everything about what was said about all of us this week. And EF, you are 100% brother, and our Denny's table extends to the West Coast. You are at that, and I would love to dip my mozzarella sticks in your marinara. And if you know what I mean. And,
I know what you mean. I would totally let you fuck me in the ass. I don't even go that way, but it would make it even more like serious, because I don't, it's like if I had to do it with someone, might as well be you.
And it's not weird. It's not weird.
Well, now it is. You guys are talking about it on the podcast.
It's not gay. It's just two guys showing each other how high their brother rating is to each other.
Right.
There's ass fucking out of 10.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with showing the brother their rating.
Yeah, look,
God.
Nothing wrong with giving love to the homies.
Yeah, fucking Siskel and reach around.
Siskel and reach around. All right, wrap it up.
All right. Fucking, I almost said Papa Chulo forever. Vatos Logos forever, and I love you long time. You know this. And live fast, love hard, and enjoyed the guild.
Ah, you remember it. I'm glad.
I did.
I'm surprised, actually, more than glad.
I was thinking about Fruziglage.
Fruziglage. All right. That is going to do it. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Big ups and a big brother rating to EF. And everyone go check out his blog and his podcast, Exiled from Contentment. Go give it a listen, give it a look, give it a read, whatever you do. Have Siri fucking read it to you. I don't give a shit. Just go check it out. And or maybe AI. Have AI summarize it for you. There you go. Yeah. All right. So that's going to do it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, we will be doing the show on Thanksgiving, and we will give thanks to, I don't know, someone. Or no one. But come back. Join us next week. We're talking about the remake of Street Trash, and should be a good time. We'll see you then.